reason why. Thought America was cool, guess I was high. Maybe it was the food that I was attracted to. 70 types of Oreo made me into Marabou. Joined TYT, then left it, started streaming. Spent half of my time banging my desk and screaming. But just when you think you've got me down and out of ammo, that's when I turn around and hit you with an effing blammo! Blammo! Blammo!
I said it.
With an effing blammo.
That's what that is.
With an effing blammo. 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 With an effing blammo. 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 That chest it up. That chest now. That chest it up. That chest it up. That chest it up. That chest it up. With an effing blammo.
There you go, dude.
Lips call me woke and fell in love with my face. Though my voice was soy, so I turned up the bass. Small head, bad takes, the haters said. Not as bad as their moms got it when I took them to bed. Getting shit on for trying to prove there is no schism between our capitalism and our imperialism. Screw it.
I'm saying it.
24/7, here it comes. America deserved 9. Blammo! Blammo! Blammo!
I said it.
With the effing blammo.
That's what that is.
With the effing blammo. Blammo. With the effing blammo.
There you go, dude.
That chest it up. That chest now. That chest it up. That chest it up. That chest it up. That chest it up. With an effing blammo. Dating adult stars, breaking hearts, spending pants.
I get it.
With the dress sense equivalent of Comic Sans. Champagne, socialist, Porsche owner, HasanAbi. I've heard it all, even from the stands in my lobby. Single himbo leftist against a world of grifters. They try to cancel me, but only manage to lift us. Last bar's coming up, but you'll miss it, don't be sour, cause we're approaching the ad break at the top of the hour.
Segue.
Blammo! Blammo! Blammo!
I said it.
With an effing blammo.
That's what that is.
With an effing blammo. 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 With an effing blammo. 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 That chest it up. That chest now. That chest it up. That chest it up. That
What's going on, everybody?
That chest it up.
I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm HasanPiker, and this is the HasanAbi broadcast coming to you live from not sunny but hazy California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, I hope all the girls, and I hope all the MBs are having a fantastic one, because today is a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today's 58 degrees and hazy in sunny California, but today is a Monday. That's right. Unfortunately, I have lost my voice a little bit, so I might come across a little raspy. I think you guys know why I lost my voice, but this is part of the broadcast where I tell you a little bit about my personal news, about what's going on in my life. Creator Clash 2 full VOD? Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'll watch the whole thing, but anyway. Charlie was bragging about you? What do you mean? Anyway, I'm live and alive, folks. And I suspect we have a lot to talk about, but I suspect that given the fact that this is my first stream back after not streaming for 2 days, chat is going to be a little unhinged today. You haven't gotten your parasocial. You haven't gotten your parasocial, input, your feedback, your loop. A lot of people are desperate for attention. So I'm going to try to do my very best to just navigate through the news stories and my regular broadcast without paying too much attention to people who are just like desperately looking for attention. But anyway. But yeah, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news, about what's going on in between the time period that I clicked stop streaming and then started streaming. And let me tell you, After I got done on Friday early, I lied one more time about gaming and didn't actually deliver for you for good reason, because I was actually late to my flight. I was going to be late to my flight. I got ready and I headed straight to the airport. And my lord, was the airport a fucking absolute mess. I mean, just disastrous. Just straight up the worst. How'd you cut your arm, baby boy? Charlie. This is a Charlie scar. But we'll get to that. Now, I flew in to Tampa, Florida on an overnight red-eye flight, which was a big mistake because it's only a 5-hour flight, and 5-hour flights are difficult to sleep in regardless. Flights are difficult to sleep in regardless. But, you know, we got that business class seat, so I'm thinking to myself, like, they'll have lie flat seats. For those of you who don't know, usually in, like, international travel, or even if you're going from, like, one big travel hub to another, like LAX to JFK, they usually give you lie flat seats. I'm too big for the lie flat seats, but I can make it work. Right? Those are the seats that go bzzz, and then it's just like, it's basically the same as an airplane seat, but you can lie flat on it like a tomb, like a coffin. But not to Tampa. Because Tampa, and this might come as a surprise to many of you, or a surprise to absolutely no one, Tampa is not necessarily an international hub. Even though Tampa is an international airport, it's not exactly a big travel hub. You were on the wrong airline? No, I looked at all of them. None of them have good tickets. You're wrong. I don't know why you said that, but... And more importantly, I have my travel advisor. The travel advisor, Austin Shell. But big mistake was a red eye in general. Don't recommend it for anybody. Don't recommend a red eye for anybody if you're going to like Tampa or whatever, especially because it fucks you up, which it did. I got into the hotel. I checked in. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to tell you because there's a VOD coming out. There's a YouTube video coming out. Hopefully Austin Ox is working on it already. I filmed everything. I filmed my entire experience this weekend, and I think you guys are going to really, really like it. I know, because like even this random Sunday where I chose to just fucking take my phone out and film myself, this already has 200,000 views. I'm not streaming on this one, which I'm very excited by. I mean, look at this. It's got 200,000 views in 2 days, and that's just like a regular day in the life. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Am I going to wear it anyway? Yes, I'm going to wear it.
So that's just my regular vlog, but a day in the life that I did. What I do when I'm not streaming? But yeah, Tampa, lots of fun. All I'm going to say is lots and lots of fun. It was wonderful seeing everybody there. I'll probably give you like an update, a cover, give you some broad coverage on what happened overall. This Moist talked about it on his stream. Yeah, we balled on Sunday, dude. It was so much fun. I want to just say, right off the jump, did you go to a strip club? No, I did not. Right off the jump, like Moist and his crew are so funny. They're so great. They were so welcoming. Like they were incredible. I mean, he has this awesome setup out there. One that you couldn't really make in Los Angeles in a similar way. Like I think I would say Lud is probably trying to emulate that here, but it's like very different to do out here because it's so much more expensive. But it's like a fun house. It's basically like a fun house. They got everything. They got like a fucking basketball court out there. They have, a gym indoors. Like it's so awesome. The Moist Compound was fucking awesome. We shot a podcast there. Charlie's on the next episode of Fear End that's going to be out tomorrow. He's got so many dildos in the factory. It's great. Creator Clash fun stuff. Yeah, I met Olayemi and I met Lol Overruled. They were there. They were a lot of fun to hang out with. I didn't get to see them too much because I was working nonstop the entire weekend. But are you doing Coachella weekend too? No, I'm not. Anyway, what is this? This is Charlie?
The MVP of our basketball games today. I mean, it's fucking painful to say, but Hasan dropped the most points. Like I said this earlier, I legitimately thought he was just going to be a meme out there. The guy can kind of ball. Like he can actually kind of ball. Like I said, I thought he was just going to be kind of posting up and falling asleep like actual AFK shit. But no, like he would do a drive and he has a good turnaround jumper. He like actually has a good turnaround jumper.
Whew. Fucking.
Who is?
I got a touch, baby. I got the touch. You know what I mean? This sounds like the Moist TTS voice. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We filmed a whole bunch of footage, dude. We got that. We got the fucking Moist Warehouse crew versus my crew +2. I brought Will. I brought Brian, my trainer, who's fucking a demon. Obviously, him and I play basketball all the time. And honestly, at the end, Rage is too pussy to play you, unfortunately. Bro, I see that. Like, I actually see that. I see that and I believe that. It's kind of sad to see. Yeah, okay, 1 second. Sorry, I had the fucking door. I had to talk to the person on the door. Rage has a legit knee injury, I think. That's why he can't ball too hard. I don't know. He was talking about it. Okay. I mean, that's fine. Does Rage have beef with you? I have beef with him. Bro, why were you roasting your trainer on Insta? Oh, I was roasting him because he's really good, but he wasn't as good as he normally is when we were playing. But he was still fucking devastating. He was lethal. I mean, he's a really, really good shooter normally, but he wasn't really shooting that well. But it doesn't matter. It was just a meme. So yeah, I mean, we played a lot and it was so much fun. I said like it's the most American experience, you know what I mean? Balling with the boys. We had some adult Capri Suns, Gatorade Zeros. Yeah, like waiting, you know what I mean? It's fire. Some snackies in the sun, you know? But yeah, Charlie definitely, alongside with like Creator Clash, truly made Tampa a worthwhile visit. It's weird that I'm saying this, you know? Anyway. But yeah, the first day, I slept for the first half of the day and then, you know, sweatily tried to fucking find everybody. There was a Taylor Swift concert happening right next to my... There was a Taylor Swift concert happening right next to my hotel, and it absolutely destroyed my travel plans of like going to the original hotel that everyone was like leaving out of. It was crazy. I had no idea how many fucking HasanAbi heads were in Tampa at the Taylor Swift concert. I'm not even kidding. Like, dude, I was walking down the street. It's like super humid. I'm trying to find an Uber, but because the concert hall is like right next to my hotel, it's basically automatically locking me into like one of the pre-designated concert hall pickup points. And I can't like pull it out, right? Because it's so close to the fucking concert hall. It's the worst possible thing that could have ever happened. So now I'm out in the street by myself, literally running, sweating like a motherfucker. And there's like, I'm not even kidding, I think 60 people tried to stop me. and multiple people were in cars. I'm just like, I'm literally running. I'm like trying to get to my Uber because I'm late to the fucking fight. And people are just like, yo, Hasan, oh my God. And it's like, there's like cars stopping in the middle of the street honking at me. Like almost like pylons almost happening. Accidents almost happening. I was like literally running at that point. I was like running to get to this Uber pickup destination. And I did, and it was fine. And it was great. You know, and then I finally made it to the fight. The fight was incredible. I cried a little bit. Okay, I'll fucking admit it. I don't give a shit. I'm man enough to say it out loud. I cried when Myth won. You know, when Myth won by TKO. I cried a little bit. Okay, just a little bit. Not a lot, but it was very manly. It was a very manly cry. Fuck you. Okay. I was so proud of him. Luckily, nobody saw. So it's fine. So yeah. But I think I should just blast off and give Creator Clash updates and stuff a little bit. And feeling rejuvenated. News to go over. Bro, please don't open so many random links on stream. So many dildos. Wait, really? Something happened to AB's liver? No. Hold on. Okay. Here you go. Let's use this. Someone. Oh, I saw that. Hold on. Where is it? Where is the... Someone caught me in the reaction to Myth's fight. Oh yeah, this is so dumb. Anyway, okay. Here you go. Let's get it started. Let's blast off. I tweeted it out. I'm live and alive. Let's go. Let's go. It's Monday. Retweet it. Like it. Grab his dick and twist it. We'll watch the menace off later. Obviously, we got a lot going on today. Luckily, it's a Monday, but it's like a relatively lighter news Monday. I mean, even though there is a lot of news to cover, like a fucking insane shooting, another like mass shooting happened in Alabama while I wasn't streaming, where like 20 people were injured. It's like little kids. And then the police were just like not giving information on what is actually happening. It's very weird. It's very weird. You got the Fox and Dominion news. AOC saw that post of you with the giant dicks. No, she didn't. And even if she did, it's not the end of the world. Like, who gives a shit, dude? Calm down, you know? Yeah, the KS shooting we're gonna cover, obviously, which is fucking another expected but absolutely disastrous thing that happened. But before we do that, before we do all of that, CEO Politico DMs got leaked. I love that. I mean, he's probably some fucking right-wing freak. We'll cover the Austin Ox video on this. Anyway, yeah. Here it is. Keep blasting off. Keep blasting, keep blasting, keep blasting. We're back, baby. Let's do it. Chatter said they're unionizing at some medieval shop or something in Chicago. This happened. HasanAbi, so disgusting. What is this? They're hitting people with cars and assaulting those on the picket line, policing abuses. People just want to be paid living wages and the company doesn't give a shit about them. Instead, they're getting assaulted and arrested. My friend was hit by a car tonight. Is this medieval times? Is this another medieval times that's like going for unionization? Because I know the HasanAbi heads in New Jersey were doing that. I gotta go to like, I kind of want to go to every medieval times around the country with fucking possibly Eddie Bareback and Ted Nivison, like we said we would do it. As they're like unionizing. I want to go so bad. I've never been to medieval times. It's like so awesome. As a young boy, I always dreamt about eating like turkey legs and shit. Cross the picket line to go eat. No, it wouldn't be like that. Tim Dillon mentioned you with Stavi.
I'm doing this movie with Addison Rae.
Yes.
Who, you know,
perfect blend of
meet
styles.
Addison Rae. Like a lot of people, they're both, you know, listen, people like us because we're hot. Yeah. We're sexy. We're young. We represent a lot of things to women.
Yes.
My fan base is mainly teenage women who are looking for, they're looking for advice. And my advice to all of them is keep your pussy away from me and don't vote.
Don't even register.
Don't even register. It's not sexy. Is there anything less attractive than a woman voting? But I'm kidding. React to this, Hasan. But no,
why does he say this? I'm so open-minded about Timothy J. Dillon's podcast and his fucking conversations. He's just mad that I outed him as the guy who did the fucking Canada big titty thing. Okay? That's it. I outed him as the guy who did the big titty teacher thing in Canada. With the Z cups. You know what I'm talking about? Tim's old producer is one of my longest Patreon subs, legend. Yeah, I think, no, Tim's got some dudes in his corner that I am mutuals with as well. Like, I think it might be literally the old producer you're talking about, M-HUD, or it might actually be another producer as well. But yeah, no, Tim is very funny. Midwestern Marks covered Richard Wolf on leftovers and gave a very uncharitable view of you, mentioning because the comments were usually in your favor, Hasan PR in swing. It's okay. Ne? Ha, benle konuşuyor zannettim. Exploding milk porn. First time typing in chat. Can you talk about what's going on in Sudan? No. I don't know enough. I've looked into it, but I'm like not completely aware and not super knowledgeable of what's going on in Sudan. So no. We can do a learning session. I mean, okay. So, here. We're going to talk about Creator Clash, but before we do that, apparently, I remember these guys. They're Finnish, right?
Yeah.
He's watched our TikTok, or a TikTok of you.
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago.
But we know it now. And HasanAbi is, who is he?
I mean, he's quite famous Twitch streamer, political commentator, I guess.
You watched the clip?
Yeah. Like it was about the conversation we had about money and
Yeah.
how I really don't care about money that much.
Yeah.
Interesting video. They ask a really good engineer from Finland about why he doesn't move to Silicon Valley. Check how he answers. The safety net his country gives him completely altered his perspective on money. It no longer drives him. Greed levels are systemic.
It's like you deserve 200,000 a year and you should move to Silicon Valley, or you should start your own company. Why are you here?
I already have more money than free time. I have no reason to move to Silicon Valley.
I love this video.
I
It's
doubt they
so
will give
good.
me long vacation.
That is important for you.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I just spend time in Japan with my friends there.
Okay, for the record, back then, I had not been to Japan yet. Now that I have actually been to Japan, wow. I mean, how based. That's the dream right there, dude. You just fucking, you live your life, you work, you skip the top of the hour ad breaks by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, and you go to Japan when you have time to go to Japan. I mean, that's crazy. Disposable income utilization, going to Japan frequently. Another way to utilize your disposable income is the $5 a month subscription that allows you to avoid the top of the hour ad breaks. Okay? That's right, because the 3-minute ad break is upon us. You can also, if you don't have $5 because you used it on your Japan trip, subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account or by getting gifted a sub. Here's the 3-minute ad break. Now, I had to do it to him for the one time. That's the first day back, baby. You know I had to do it to him. Extra summons. Thank you for the 5 get the subs. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 25 get the subs, allowing 30 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Miyamoto Toru, thank you for the 5 get the subs as well. Yeah. Wait, did I already fucking run it? What the hell? Tamana, thank you for the 5 gifted. Okay. Let's continue.
I think people imagine that if you could get a really high salary, you would.
I don't really.
Exactly, dude. It's also part of the reason why I don't take on so many fucking sponsorships and only serve ads at the top of the hour every hour, which is a 90 or a 60-second ad break. The lowest amount of ads I could fucking serve you. Oh my god, I did this again. This is twice in a row that I've reacted to this dude and then fucking actually did an ad rate. An ad segue. Oh my god. Because what the fuck am I gonna do with all that extra money? Am I gonna put it in my ass, dude? Doesn't matter. I live a luxurious life. Not everything has to be about like making as much money as fucking possible, as humanly possible. Okay?
Value money, like for the sake of it. I mean, I do understand that it's like a really privileged position, but living in Finland, I can't actually imagine how I would have to screw up that I would go hungry. So there has never been that kind of urgency, which is probably why I just don't care about money.
That man operates that way because he has his fucking needs met by the state to a certain degree. It gives you freedom. When you have health care, you don't have to take a fucking job that you don't want to. Take a job that you're good at, which will greatly improve your performance. Make your labor force more productive.
What do you think about his thoughts?
As I stated in that video as well, that it's like a very privileged position to have. And like Hasan basically said the same thing, that you can have that kind of state of mind really only when your basic needs are insured by like the state or like some kind of safety net.
Yeah.
That you don't really have a risk of like extreme financial distress.
It's true. But come on, this big Twitch streamer looks at our company TikToks. It's kind of surreal because you have watched this guy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly
I bet this guy doesn't like me that much though. Or maybe he does, I don't know.
You're looking at him, looking at you. I think it was fun. It's so fun to stumble upon this.
He's chill as hell. You just send HasanAbi a Kirill shirt. What a crossover. These are the things you don't expect when creating a brand account on TikTok. Normies discovering the React meta. Why would you think that?
HasanAbi.
Yeah.
I have two different types of social democrats living in living in countries like this. Ones that recognize that we don't have what they have, and that's why they're like, Hasan is advocating for the good things. And then others who are like really into like NATO and stuff, who are just like, I'm a social democrat, but also I think like Muslims should be purged in the country. I'm not saying he is. I'm just in my experience, my brain is just broken, dude. Okay, I'm just a cynical person. You know, that's what it is. Are you watching the basketball or hockey playoffs? I'm not watching any of those playoffs. I'm actually just simply watching anime. That's right. Or not just anime. It's time. It's actually time. Hold on one second. Guys, it's not even One Piece time. Wait, hold on. One second. Are you ready for this? It's time for the HasanAbi movie hour. That's right. Really quickly, before I move on, I'm joined by Michael Barbaro for the HasanAbi movie hour. That's right. When I was flying over to Tampa, I had a unique opportunity to watch a movie that I was not really looking forward to watching at all, as a matter of fact, until it got the Oscar nod. I'm of course referencing Tar. Tar was a riveting masterpiece in my opinion, thrilling, suspenseful. Okay? And I greatly enjoyed it. Okay? And I'll tell you what. Tar, for those of you who don't know, is a 2022 psychological drama film written and directed by Todd Field. It stars the wonderful Cate Blanchett as Lydia Tar. In my opinion, Cate Blanchett acted her ass off in this movie. Lydia Tar is a renowned conductor who is accused of sexual misconduct. Tar premiered at the 79th Venice International Film Festival in September 2022, where Blanchett won the Volpe Cup for Best Actress. The film had a limited theatrical release and was overall a flop. It was not widely accepted by domestic or international audiences. The film had the limited release in the United States on October 7th before a wide release on October 28th by Focus Features. Although it got widespread acclaim for Blanchett's performance, it unfortunately did not do so well in the box office. Now let me tell you something. I loved it. It was very suspenseful. It was very good. It was hyper-realistic. It was like, I would call it hyper-realistic sociological horror. Okay? And then the last act of the movie was when things, in my opinion, completely unwinded and turned into something entirely different. A lot of people are saying it's kind of boring. It was too beautiful for it to be boring. For me, at least. Psychological? No. Sociological is the right term, not psychological. Because Todd Field hyper-focused on so many concepts that people talk about regularly, and I think a lot of people watched it at face value and they thought, it's about cancel culture. It's criticizing the awfulness of cancel culture and how it can take down like a person by whipping up drama around them or whatever. And I did like that aspect of it because it absolutely it kind of left it up to the viewer to make that assessment. It gave enough for you to think that like Lydia Tarr was actually a horrible monster, but it also gave you so little that it could feel at times like she was an over-accomplishing person who was in the spotlight, who was, as a matter of fact, being targeted for no reason. Like, and it's great because all of my Twitter brain fan base will look at that and go, she groomed young women. Yes, that's the point. The point was that the actual point of the movie was supposed to be that whether she groomed young women or not was supposed to be left up to the viewer. They always gave you enough information, but not so much that it wasn't conclusive. Okay? And it was great. It was about her workers being the talent. It was about labor. Okay, I don't know about that far. No, they were very explicit about that part. I think she did as well, for the record. It's a movie about an asshole making great art. What did you think about the ending being Monster Hunter? I thought it was pretty funny. But ultimately, guess I missed that. It seems like she obviously groomed them. I think she had. I think that there was definitely sexual misconduct. And from what I understand, the way that they basically presented, and I think it's really interesting, is that at the final sequence is like the final act. This is going to be your takeaway from the movie. This.
There's a humility in Bach. He's not pretending he's certain about anything. Because he knows that it's always the question.
You know what it is? You know what I liked about Tar? In some ways, it's a similar reason why I like White Lotus. Everyone's bad. Everyone's an asshole. Now, of course, not the victims or anything like that, because they don't really get featured all too prominently throughout the movie, especially the main victim. But like, Succession is like that too, but White Lotus especially is like that. Everyone is so, like, everyone is bad. No one is good. Okay? And that's how the real world is as well. Which is precisely why, like, this guy is like, I'm a BIPOC, pangender person, and I don't want to listen to Bach, which is like such a fucking overblown, ridiculous concept. And, you know, and her response to that guy is also not supposed to be super perfect in that regard. She's right when she criticizes his takes, but she's not a good person. So, like, for Ian to have the takeaway where she's like, oh, Kate Blanchett takes on critical race theory and gender identity politics in her new role, Absolutely Based, is so fucking stupid. Like, you literally are not supposed to, your takeaway shouldn't be, oh, man, she's really popping off in this one. You know what I mean? Unless you're a fucking moron. And plenty of people, the movie's about how she's a sexual predator. Yeah. Like, I can't believe you watched that and your takeaway is like, damn, I really loved when she fucking ripped a new asshole into this fucking student. She has a bad take though? No, I don't think she has a bad take even in this regard, where she talks about how, where she talks about the contributions, or at least like your takeaway should be, the contributions that a lot of these people have made to art is what matters, and their own personal experiences or their own personal, you know, what they did in their private matters. There's literally a line in the movie from one of her mentors that actually says about Schopenhauer, I think it was about Schopenhauer, where she was like, well, what he did in his private affairs should not pertain to like what, you know, should not take away from his actual contributions, right? So it's not a bad take, but she's an asshole to the student for the rest of the class about it. Exactly. It's supposed to show. No, it wasn't Chopin. It was Schopenhauer. No, it was Schopenhauer. It was a philosopher that we're talking about, not Chopin. Anyway, but Ian Miles wrong with the wrong. Also, the whole undertone of the film is that what we are seeing on screen didn't even happen, but an imagination of what it might be like to live the life she actually wanted. It's like when you argue with someone in the shower that night, you think of the perfect response. Basically, what these losers do every day online. Yeah. Wait, he isn't even getting the movie. What the fuck? Yeah, no shit. But in some ways, him rooting for her means that this actually this did a really good job, because this is supposed to be a Jordan Peterson moment. Okay? This quite literally is a Jordan Peterson moment. She has every opportunity and is incredibly knowledgeable. She has every opportunity to use this as an educational moment to be like, listen, I understand none of these people are perfect. We're all imperfect vessels, and yet our contributions to art is what should matter in that regard. But instead, she hyper focuses on like, she hyper focuses on the pure vanity of it. Okay, if you look at Bach on the grounds of like on the grounds of his demographic, on the grounds of like his demographics, then one day you will be rated on a similar aspect, and that's exactly, you don't want that. And it's like, well, that's not the point. That is not the point at all, because she's supposed to be vapid, okay? Incredibly self-important. This is a woman from Staten Island who changed her name from Linda to Lydia specifically, and never talks about her background on purpose, and hides her experiences on purpose, because she doesn't want people to know. She feeds into that very same narcissistic, vapid, shallow, this side of the industry that she's a part of. Okay? She also has to have this take so that her own art is not negatively viewed in the future. A reactionary person I know made me watch Tar, but he had only seen the first half. When I watched the scene in class when she's acting like a lunatic, he said it was an example of her being unfairly canceled, that these ungrateful students are throwing away the opportunity to learn from a genius. I said she was acting insane and making anxious students want to die, and he said I didn't know what I was talking about. Like, both of these people are in the wrong in this regard, though. That's what I wanted to get away. That's what I want your takeaway to be from this, at least. And I think that's what the director was trying to do, where like this is classic like bullshit fucking young student goes overboard about like gender shit, you know, the age old, like even Norman Finkelstein has fallen to this line of propaganda, if you've ever listened to him talk recently, where he's always like, oh, I can't believe people don't want to read Shakespeare any longer. And it's like, it's so fucking stupid. Okay, that is such a stupid non-issue. Like, I don't personally think that, I don't personally think, maybe I'm wrong, that like college campuses are like legitimately saying no more Shakespeare, no more Bach, no more Beethoven. These are all fucking white men. You can't learn anything from white men. If anything, they're probably saying we need to diversify, we need to diversify the artists and the philosophers that we engage with in schools, because that will broaden people's worldview, which is an understandable and desirable position for an institute of higher learning. Okay? That's normal for them to have that perspective. It's good for them to have that perspective. But I don't think that comes at the cost of like saying no more Shakespeare. Okay? That's just a silly, lazy fucking take. And this kid is basically doing that take, because it's like a young, anxious person who wants to come across as unique. That's why he's saying that, you know what I mean? That's why he's like coming out and being like, I'm BIPOC, pangender, and I don't care to, I don't care to read into Bach too much because it's not diverse enough. He's in the wrong there, okay? And she's in the wrong for her response. Please talk about the Radlib Nepo Baby Cello Girl at lunch with Lydia, International Women's Day. I mean, that was kind of funny too. But yeah, no one in this movie is right. No one in this movie is correct. And that's not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be correct. If you look at them and you're like, oh, I really understood where they were coming from. You're like kind of telling on yourself a little bit. But having said that, it's just, I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great movie overall. Because it definitely was thrilling for me. Will said that he didn't feel all that thrilled. He didn't feel like the suspense was high enough or the stakes were high enough. But I really loved it. And I did think the stakes were high, especially because if you find yourself understanding Lydia Tarr's position, the stakes are the highest. Are you kidding me? You're at the top. You're supposed to finish the fifth Mahler composition, and then you're done. You know what I mean? You've ended your career in this perfect cycle, and then it's taken away from you right before you're able to do that. Like, to that, because of what the stakes are for her, that's everything. That's worse than death. But from what I understand, I think the interpretation is supposed to be that, like, she takes it seriously no matter where she is. Like, Lydia Tarr overcomes, doesn't matter. And that's what your takeaway, I think, is supposed to be, at least according to the editors that took out that line, but that line that was in the script originally. There is a line in the script where it says, like, Lydia Tarr takes everything seriously. And she ends up fucking composing Monster Hunter World in the Philippines. Which I thought was pretty funny. But she still does it with the same, like, is it integrity, intensity of like being at the, Berlin Philharmonic. But yeah, ultimately, she's such a great fucking actress, especially this scene. Oh my God. If you are looking at it specifically from the lens of, like, cinema as an artistic medium and acting as an art, this entire, like, 15-minute sequence is, like, insane to watch. She acts her fucking tits off, dude. She's so good. Anyway, this is some white people shit. Sorry, I am lost. Shut up, bitch. Yeah, it was all one shot. She's great. Kate Blanchett is Meryl Streep. Stop lying, acting mid as fuck. We need a diverse sector, 2 white movie. What? Oh, that's okay. I think people are just trying to bait. Great movie overall. I have not watched Suzume. I watched 1917 as well. That was also a great movie. I watched that after. And did you see the ghost in the apartment? I did. It was fucking terrifying. I did not, dude. There is a lot going on in this movie that is like that you can, not really see if you don't pay attention to it. You'll miss it. Yes, Tar is a ghost movie in some ways. In some ways, it is a hyper-realistic sociological horror okay? Like hyper realistic. And it's also the exact opposite, where it's very surreal and it's like a ghost story simultaneously. Especially when the final act opens up in that moment where she falls down, where she's supposed to be like following, her, the new cellist into her apartment complex, and realizes that that's not actually, the things are not the way that they're supposed to be. From that moment on, you start seeing there's a lot of instances where like she's possibly because of her insomnia, she's possibly experiencing like hallucinations and whatnot. But from that point on, you literally start seeing like her mania comes into the forefront instead of the opposite. In the beginning, it's way more realistic and it seems like she's in control, but there's like small moments in the background where like she's basically haunted by her assistant originally, but then in the last act that becomes the forefront, and what she's experiencing in the real world, if she's even experiencing it at all, turns into something in the background, something that you have a hard time coming to terms with, in my opinion. Yes, she also has misophonia. There you go. But yeah, the final act is almost like a dreamlike sequence, honestly. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens in the final act that just like doesn't make any sense. When you're like, what the fuck? Like when she rolls up to the it's even in the trailer, when she rolls up to the Mahler, like the Berlin Philharmonic, playing her music when she can't find it, and then the fucking trumpet person is like literally in the background like she originally intended it to be, but then no one is actually seeing her. It just like is weird. Anyway, Tar is basically Whiplash meets Black Swan. It's surreal, narcissistic musical tragedy for lesbians. I loved it. All right. Anyway, that's all. That's the movie hour. Okay, we're done with that. All right, let's get the Creator Clash real quick. Cover that real quick. Like I said, so the environment. What? Bad vibe warning? What the fuck is this? Dude, I don't know what the hell is going on in this goddamn country. Oh, I give Tar a 9 out of 10, by the way, for those of you who are wondering what my score was. I think it was a 9 out of 10. Dude, there's so much happening in America all the time that's like insanely violent, and I don't know if it's because like Twitter has like basically completely gotten unhinged with showing you just gross acts of like genuine gore. But I mean, Twitter is like turning into Live Leak every day, and I don't know what that is doing to our overall psyche. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I can't see that being a good thing at all, if I'm being honest. It's very weird. It's very strange. Okay, Dearborn's finest. Okay. I mean, this dude, holy shit, he popped the fuck off. You guys probably watched him in Creator Clash where he ran the distance. He went the distance with a very capable opponent, as a matter of fact, surprisingly capable opponent. But here he is going up against Hundar. Now, I'm going to give you guys some background, okay? Because we have the same trainers. We have the same, physical trainers. He also has, on top of that, like, obviously a boxing coach too. And so I'm familiar, like I'm keeping up. I've been keeping up for the past couple months on his workouts. We train together from time to time. Like, I see him while I'm training from time to time. Hundar is a much larger opponent. Hundar usually walks around, I believe, at about 200 pounds. Myth, on the other hand, the top weight he's ever reached in his life was like 195. And of course, he is not 195 when he's in fighting shape. So for them to get down to the same weight to fight, Hundar had to lose a lot of weight. Myth had to also lose some weight too, but like, he is now only developing muscle mass. So the advantages that he had, oh, thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. The advantages that Myth had was that I think his cardio is going to be better. He's a very technical fighter. He's very good for how new he is. And he's also a lot younger. Hundar is around 30 plus. I forget how old Hundar is, but like that age. And of course, he is not 195 when he's in fighting shape. So for them to get down to the same weight to fight, Hundar had to lose a lot of weight. Myth had to also lose some weight too, but like, he is now only developing muscle mass. So the advantages that he had, oh, thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. The advantages that Myth had was that I think his cardio is going to be better. He's a very technical fighter. He's very good for how new he is. And he's also a lot younger. Hundar is around 30 plus. I forget how old Hundar is, but like that age definitely is a major component, okay, in this circumstance. He's almost 40. That's crazy. I didn't even know that. I mean, he is incredible. He's in incredible shape for being 39 years old, but I was still terrified, especially after what I saw Hundar do to AB. Okay? But Myth, on the other hand, outboxed him.
Nice jab. He is lighting him up, Tony Jab. Wow, looks comfortable too.
Look at him. Look at his fucking look. Look at how he's dodging him. Look, even here.
Wow, looks comfortable too. He's starting to look a little wobbly up there. Hit this long on that jab, and Hundar.
Right on the button. Miss said right before this, they were like talking, and Hundar was saying, it's actually a lot of fun fighting you. And that's why he was smiling right before he got fucking clapped. Now that, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the art or sport of boxing, that right there is the button, okay? Everybody's got a spot on their fucking face, which Myth actually perfectly found in this punch. He explores with the left a little bit, and then right on the button. Look at that. And it's perfect too. He puts his entire body weight into it, perfect form, coming down as well, and just absolutely destroys him. My man said, Myth has no power. Ha ha ha. Look at these punches. They look so soft. Dude, you should definitely, you should go up against him.
Nice jab.
Anyway, like I said, he's a very technical fighter. He's a very technical fighter. He's learned how to fight so well. He fights incredibly well. Hundar ended up popping his bicep to that fall. Yeah, I saw. Respectfully, I'd body slam him. Okay. Anyway. How many times have you been asked to go up against someone next time? Every 10 minutes, I would guess. Yes. Literally everyone is constantly asking me. I don't know how many times I said, no, I'm not going to fight this past weekend. I don't know. Like thousands. But yeah, look, ultimately, if it wasn't for his bicep that he fell on, as you can see when he goes limp and he just falls directly on his bicep, which ruptures. Okay, he had a bicep tear in that fight. If it wasn't for that, he probably maybe could have kept going. Okay? But that doesn't take away from the fact that he ate a clean one, dude. Just the absolute perfect, clean one. No talking about your friends or things close to you, okay? Only OP and agitprop, please. Yeah. But overall, this was a very emotional moment for me watching him. Hundar's bicep is dunzo. Where is the photo? Here it is.
Well, I hurt my arm. They say I couldn't keep fighting because the bicep popped. Oh no, everybody. I'm having a bad time.
Yeah, he had to walk around in a sling. The funniest thing is, Hundar is such a nice dude. I mean, he is such a fucking kind, such a nice guy. It's just so funny because he literally looks like a demon. He looks like just legitimately like a terrifying person. He looks like the type of dude who would be called Hundar. Even if you didn't know his name was Hundar, you would think he's Hundar. By the way, speaking of which, careful, he's vegan as well. From what I understand, so is Dad. Both of the old guys in that fucking ring that were, Dad's not vegan, I think vegetarian. But both of the old guys in the ring that looked the best out of pretty much everyone else were both vegetarian for a very long time. So that's why they're in remarkable shape. But yeah, he's a super sweet guy, which is pretty funny to consider because his like entire persona on stage is like this barbarian warrior, which I find really funny. Anyway. Unfortunately, Jarvis lost. I think his asthma kicked in. But yeah, I was fucking losing my mind. People caught me in the crowd, absolutely going bananas mode. I was losing my mind. I was with Mitt's mom and dad. That dude had a classic exam finding of Popeye's arm because the distal tendon tore completely, causing the bicep muscle to curl up and look like Popeye's arm after he eats spinach. It's pathogenomic for biceps tear. What is this? I was crying. Anyway. But yeah, it was a pretty bad tear. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Should have seen Markiplier. I did see him. I did see him. But I didn't like really. I don't know him, so I didn't want to fucking go up to him and be like, "Hey, what's up, man?" You know? Because I know what it's like when motherfuckers keep rolling up to you at an event like that. Aaron, aka Ego Raptor, looks so good this year. Yeah, he looked a lot better this year than he did last year, for sure. Hasan, you're too humble. I think you're known enough to give a quick intro. It doesn't matter. It's the weird to be like, hey, what's up? I'm a famous guy. You're a famous guy. You know, let's meet. I don't know. I feel like in a situation like that, if someone wants to come up to you, so many content creators came up to me. You know, plenty who are way more famous than I am. Who've been in the game for way longer than I have been. They came up, and the way I see it is like, if you want to do that, you do it. If you don't want to do it, then, you know, I just kind of leave you alone. You're parasocial phobic. I've not watched enough of his videos to be parasocial. I've watched zero. I don't watch gaming viewers. I don't watch gaming stuff. Did Harley almost fall on you? I have a funny story about Harley. I love Harley. I have a really funny story about him. So Harley is like 6'6". He's taller than me even. And he's a very big dude. He's a brolic dude. He's fighting against this guy who is, you know, fighting against the dude on sauce is like one thing. He's fighting against a dude who's been professionally punched and been in an arena for like longer than I've been alive. Okay? Like that guy, all of the factors that come into consideration in a situation that would like be a disadvantage for you, a normal person getting into an arena, stepping up into an arena and your heart pumping, he doesn't have any of that. Right? He's been doing that for a very long time. Not only that, but also, he's been getting punched professionally for a very long time. You know what I mean? Like, so John Morrison also blew a dog whistle to incapacitate a dog wrestler and then crushed it from the sky. Like, this is the guy he's fighting against, right?
It's okay, Russ. He cheated.
So, you know, he's in remarkable shape. His opponent was in remarkable shape, has incredible control. Pro wrestling is real. Brother, getting hit in the face is definitely a very real component of pro wrestling, which is soap opera or whatever. But yes, you are definitely getting hit a lot. Regardless of how fake it is, if you think that you're not actually tanking some serious fucking damage, both to your head, both to your body on a regular basis for fucking, you know, however many years this guy's been doing it, I don't know what to tell you. Why do you think so many of them get CTE? So, I mean, the guy is awesome. He's fucking fantastic. He was great. And so before this fight happened with Harley versus the mayor of Slamtown, which I think is like awesome. It's such a funny fucking name. Before Harley was about to fight him, Harley comes up to me the day of the fight and he's like, dude, I got to tell you one more time. Like, I know we've had this conversation before, but you really should get into fighting. You would love it. I really didn't want to do it. And then I got into it, and look at me now. Okay. Why am I telling you this story? Because Harley gets into the ring. He has an incredible fucking opening performance. He's actually doing a pretty good job at first. He's like kind of controlling the speed of the fight a little bit. Okay. And then, you know, his opponent, John Morrison, mayor of Slamtown, opens up and starts just absolutely eviscerating him. I mean, he's just fucking bouncing him, right? He was punching him like he was doing the speed bag at a certain point. It felt crazy. And obviously what ended up happening was something that I've never seen before. He fucking clapped him so hard. Harley, this 6'6" monster, fell out of the ring. He knocked him out of the ring. Does anyone have the video of this? I need you to see it to believe it. It is hard to comprehend. It is hard to understand. I think this is a VOD of the fight, so maybe you'll see it right here. Oh, here it is. Here. Look.
And again, you see that right hand, he falls into us here.
Look at this.
Why weren't you there to save us? And again, you see that right hand, he falls into us here.
He knocks him out of the arena.
Thank God that Harley's okay, though. That could have really been bad.
And Harley's a legend. I mean, he falls into the fucking...
That's a big man.
He looks up. And what he told me was, what he told me about this was he's like, listen, when I'm in the ring, I never see faces, right? I got fucking knocked out of the arena. He came up to me after the fight. Okay? He came up to me after the fight that night. He was like, dude, I stood up from the table, and the first face I saw was yours going like this. And at that moment, at that moment I realized, oh my God, I told him earlier to definitely fight. And he just watched me fucking fly onto the judge's table. Because that was what I was thinking in that moment. We locked eyes, and I was like, this motherfucker is getting fucking hammer-fisted out of the fucking ring, and he was trying to get me to go fight. I'm definitely not fighting. There is no shot.
Look at us there. We're trying to help him out. Charlie didn't dive at anybody. I don't want to hear it.
You look like this? No, literally. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, he's like, dude, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. It's like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good with that. I'm good with missing on all of that, to be honest. Like, straight up. Your POV? Yeah, I mean, he was the crowd favorite, but he was getting slapped around a lot. Dude, he was so cool, calm, and collected. It was crazy. Incredible cardio. He knows exactly what's going on. I mean, he kept pushing him into he dropped him a bunch of times, including onto the judge's table. Anyway, the quality of the Creator Clash goes up. I do worry about the safety of the fighters because they're getting better. Anyway, did you meet any of the wrestlers there? No, I did not. But yeah, here are some photos of me going crazy mowing. His mom. What's your favorite part of the night besides Myth winning? I don't know. That's it. in my world, it just like completely overshadowed everything else. But that's it. That's what I got. What happened? All the fucking videos are closed. Andrea and the was it Michelle Carre? That fight was probably one of the most I mean, it was the most technical fight. It was literally like Myth and Hundar are great too, but you know, they unfortunately couldn't go to distance, whereas the Andrea Botas fight was insane, especially because it blew my mind how well Andrea kept up with her, despite the fact that like she apparently was like training for much longer than I guess she said she was. And it was crazy. I heard Michelle had more training than she let on. Yeah, I mean, but the fact that like Andrea is able to keep up with that is wild. Like Andrea could have won that. Andrea literally like it's not like Michelle was like overpowering her a lot. And you know, she's great. Michelle's great too. Jay Larray, you didn't come up to me for me to sign your hat. I don't know why. I don't know what happened there. You know, we gotta figure that out. I don't know why you said that you wanted me to sign your hat and then you just, you know, you vanished. What happened there? Did you get worried? Same reason you didn't talk about Markiplier? That's different. If I had Markiplier merch, or if I was, first of all, if you're one of the fighters, it doesn't matter. You get to talk to everybody. That's just how it works. Okay? I was too nervous to get my hat signed by you. What the fuck? That's crazy. It doesn't work that way. When you're a fighter, it's just like you do whatever you want to do. But between me and Markiplier, it just like doesn't work that way. The Elizabeth post was drama bait from months ago. Andrea knew what she was getting into going into the ring. They had spoken about it. Yeah, no, I think like I think it was you know, I think it's a testament to how good Andrea is. That like she was able to fucking keep up with someone who had trained for longer than she had. Thoughts on IDubbbz losing? I mean, it's unfortunate, but Alex Wasabi is really, really good boxer. Like, I would say Alex Wasabi is better than Dr. Mike even. So, I don't even know who Andrea could fight. Like, if it wasn't someone like Michelle, who the fuck could she fight? I don't even know. You know what I mean? Because, like, she's so good. This photo is amazing. Oh, yeah, Austin was taking advantage of that, I guess. How does Sabrina do? I mean, she got destroyed by Jay Larray. I think if I kept training the same, we could have a good fight, to be honest. Also, we're in the same weight class. Sabrina was fucking destroyed. Like, let's be real. I mean, she went the distance, which is, of course, crazy. You know, that is really ballsy. That's really brave. She did a phenomenal job. But Jay cooked her. Another person who absolutely overpowered their opponent was Alana. Alana was insane. I mean, I knew. When I saw photos of her progress, I was like, holy shit, she is a fucking demon. And Alana's fight basically was like a bop 'em sock 'em. Is that the right term for it? Like, it just felt like she was just walking and punching non-stop. Non-fucking stop. Alana had bad form, but she was a wall. Alana was literally like, she was, I don't know how to describe it. Like, she just looked like a immovable object and an unstoppable force at the same time. Alana had an asthma attack mid-round as well. Yeah, she looked like she was training. She flew back to fucking Australia to train with kangaroos, okay? And then came back to fight. It was wild. You had two of the boxers, Alana and Sabrina, on Chavez at the same time. Oh, I did. Yeah. That's true. Well, was there an ad telling us where to jerk to our favorite streamers, fighters? Lol. No, there wasn't. This was also sponsored by Fansly, but this event was also sponsored by Fansly, but no, there wasn't a hey, jerk off to your favorite content creators thing. It was very frustrating because Michelle misled Andrea. No, I don't think she did. I think that's an older video or something. It might have been like drama bait. Anyway. Y'all are like, can you, dude, it's wild that like some people can't actually just watch content and appreciate it and just basically go, man, this was great. What a wonderful thing that we watched. They have to take it to the next level where they're like, I know the content that we watched is fine, but I actually want like additional sauce on it. You know, I want to just like lather it with sauce. I need more. It's not enough that we actually watched this stuff and we saw friends who have been training for months and months to basically give us this like awesome experience for a good cause, for charity. I need some fucking sauce on it. Like, I got to make sure that there is some additional component of drama. Like, calm down. It's okay. Like, not everything has to become something larger for you. Just for your level of entertainment. We're proud of Jack as well. Yeah, I mean, Jack was going... I was watching this in the bus over there, and I was so fucking terrified. I thought he was dying. But apparently, he just, like, bleeds real easy, you know? God, the pictures from last night, I really... took blood for the blood god, literally, man, haha. Yeah, he said he bleeds real easy. Have you never met a sports fan? We're all cope all the time. That's what sports all really is. Yeah, it's true. Michelle used the Firan clip in the promo video.
You guys know Michelle?
Oh, she's dangerous. She's dangerous. And she's a professional cyclist.
Oh, dude.
She might kill me. If I'm gonna win a fight, I need the best people in my corner. His name is Tony Jeffries, and he is a 2008 Olympic bronze medalist. I am going to have to transform.
Do you know what was sick? Every single boxing coach came up to Myth after and congratulated him. Every single boxing coach. Like, all of these professional boxers coming up to him and being like, man, you got a fucking mean right. You got such a devastating right. Like, it was wild. It was so sick. They all literally, you know, they were like, respect.
My entire lifestyle to that of a professional boxer. This means training 6 days a week in the gym, coming home doing recovery and ice baths, having a professional chef prepare all of my meals to the perfect macro and caloric amounts. It means dealing with the pain when it comes, and it means putting my best foot forward every morning.
Michelle trains as hard, if not harder than...
I mean, she's a demon, dude. I don't know what to say. She is literally, she is lethal. She's a lethal fucking weapon, okay? I mean, this is like American Ninja Challenge person. You know what I mean? This is an American Ninja warrior person. Like, you can't, she's like worked with the CIA and shit. Like, that's her YouTube videos like revolve around, you know, literally doing this sort of stuff.
Anyone that I've ever worked with. If she fights another creator, she will win that fight. She will definitely win that fight.
Michelle kept getting a hit in whenever the clinch was getting broken up. Judge didn't call it out for some reason. Yeah, she did do that a lot for sure. But listen, ultimately, you know, it was a great fight. It was such a good fight to watch. This was the fight that was supposed to happen, but it never ended up happening. I did the thing versus Fitz. Good guy Fitz versus I did a thing. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna here. This is the last boxing video I'm gonna show you guys. Overall fun weekend, great. You know, I didn't feel as bad being away from stream for 2 days. Normally I would, but the reason why I didn't feel bad being away from stream was because I actually ended up making a lot of content, a lot of BTS stuff, and I think you guys are going to appreciate it. You know, Sunday I balled super hard with Charlie in the warehouse boys, and it was great. My voice is messed up from screaming. I was going crazy. Here is New York Police Department versus the Fire Department in New York. Just beating the fucking doors off this cop.
This is a full-out ass-kicking with. Hey, I'll tell you.
Damn, bro. What happened? Where's your guns? I guess when you don't have your fucking guns, it's a little different, isn't it?
It's all Peretta right now. Peretta comes in with the John
They shot his dog after that. Cop probably would have done better if he was fighting his wife. Am I right? Yeah, he just fucking ate it. No. Oh, no. Anyway. Fentanyl laced hands. Yeah, that's, I mean, he slept them, so maybe. He just OD'd on the punches. This time, you have a cop who OD'd on the punches. You know what I mean? Normally they OD on the fentanyl, but he ate them, dude. He ate them. They also got smoked 8-5. Yeah, you hate to see it, dude. You hate to see it. Couldn't turn any camera off. Yeah. I don't think he needed to take the body cam off because look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Just fucking. Oh. He keeps going too. He keeps going when he's on the ground. Look at the firefighter bench. There's a guy shoveling his grave. Oh, yeah, he's shuffling. Oh. I feel like we're owed a fight from I Did a Thing. Man literally almost dies for every YouTube video, but then won't hop in the ring. Aussie Courage is even backwards down from under. No, man, he got concussed. You're not supposed to fight when you get concussed, chatter. What are you, crazy? Like, if you get concussed that close to a fucking fight and you get concussed again in that fight, you could die. Like, or have, like, genuine permanent damage done to your brain. There's no reason that you should do that. You know what I mean? Like, there's no counter to that. There's nothing you can really do after you get fucking concussed. You just eat it. Like, at the top of the hour, you get concussed by the 3-minute ad break, but at least there's something you can do to avoid that. You know what I mean? Like subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, or by getting gifted a sub. You can't do any of that when you're getting concussed and when you're training, when you're sparring. Did you hear about the Frank Ocean Coachella shit show? I did. Here's the 3-minute ad break now, by the way. DeSantis in a high school yearbook, but not his own. Wait, what? Did AB win? No, he lost. Sakura Gore, thank you for the 10 gifted subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. He's a 3-minute ad break now. That's his own yearbook? Oh. What a dork. I feel like the Frank Ocean haters or complainers are just privileged kids who have too high expectations. Okay, that's a little bit crazy. Listen, I think Frank Ocean is an incredibly talented human being. And, you know, he's got his own demons that he fights. But, like, that is a wild take. Dude, that's not partially true. What the fuck are you talking about? That's insane. Like, there's a level to being an artist who's, like, super talented and having a lot of demands or having an artistic vision. And then there is... Why'd he block you? He never blocked me. He just unfollowed me on Instagram, which is fine. I still like him. I still like his music. But I do think that I do think that it's wild that, you know, you don't have an album coming out or anything like that, and then you fucking turn around and
Frank Ocean.
And then you turn around, you have this like big budget production that you set up with an ice rink, and that's what everybody worked on. Everybody, like all the dancers are supposed to be ice skaters, and then right before the event, you decide to not do it, not do that, and then they have to like melt the ice rink, and then on top of that, you know, all the choreography is kind of cooked, and then on top of that, you don't want any other person performing while you're performing, so there's like no music for an hour. Like, that's crazy. Here, this is Festive Owl. I've been speaking with sources about what exactly transpired and how things went so far downhill for Sunday on Frank Ocean for Coachella. The stage production was supposed to and did contain an ice rink that was constructed and ready to go. Okay. He was an hour and a half late, and they were all waiting in the fucking cold, apparently, and in the silence, because there's nothing else to watch. He's an hour late to the set. The reason why he's an hour late to the set, by the way, is because of this. Frank decided at the last minute that he no longer wanted it at all, the ice rink. All of the people walking around him at the start of the performance were actually ice skaters, had been practicing for weeks, and were supposed to be skating as a part of the production. Coachella had to deconstruct the approved stage that had been planned and signed off on for months in advance, melt the entire ice rink, and then set it up how Frank decided with no warning. This all happened when doors had already opened for Sunday, and people were securing their spots to see him. If the last-minute changes weren't made, he wouldn't have performed at all, leaving the festival without a closing headliner. Frank also personally pulled the plug at the last second on the live stream, which left a very sour taste in many inside Coachella's mouths. Ultimately, and I quote, "It just didn't seem like he wanted to be there but was obligated to be. Everything, including him, fell apart last minute." Don't expect to see any coverage from the festival about the set, something that is unprecedented in the history of Coachella. The relationship is not in a good place right now. I worked on that ice rink. We all thought it was super dumb, but awesome at the same time. We lugged those heavy fake rocks, set up lights and around and beneath it. It was going to be so dope. The stagehand and production crew morale really dropped when we found out it wasn't being used. Hundreds of man hours, blood, sweat, and tears for nothing. In part, that's just how it goes. But in reality, everyone was super upset. We did hours and hours of work only to scrap it hours before. So,
not Frankie.
You know, Sean C had a take on it. Let's take a look. Sean C is very level-headed. I'm a fan of his. Let's see what he has to say about it. But this is like the major Coachella drama. Other than that, I saw all my friends, having a wonderful time at Coachella. But this year, it does feel a little bit less. Maybe because I didn't go, so I wasn't in it. So it's different for me. But like experiencing it from the outside, maybe because it was a creator clash that was happening simultaneously for me, I didn't really see too much Coachella. Like, I did not see a lot of movement, momentum. I didn't see a lot of media around it. But yeah, let's take a look.
You know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. This is insane. This is crazy. I swear to God, it took me 6, 7, almost 8 times of scrolling past this video for me to realize it was Frank Ocean. I thought this was a video of some random dude that has nothing to do with some performer's set hopping on stage and just going crazy to one of the songs. I thought it was a random. If you would have told me this was Frank Ocean performing one of his songs at Coachella, something that people have been waiting so long for, have flown from God knows wherever to come see, I would not have believed you if I didn't hear the sound. Obviously, we all love Frank Ocean. He's a GOAT, in my opinion. Very influential. Almost started a whole new wave of R&B. His blueprint, his sound, his aesthetic is being used, even with him being absent from the musical scene or space.
All this part is true, yes.
6, 7 years. Regardless of all these accomplishments and how much people adore Frank Ocean,
he's got 4 good songs. It's crazy. Listen, bro. No, I don't know why everybody does this where it's like, oh, I've been known. Like, I knew he sucked. Anytime like somebody fucking has like a shit moment, like everybody fucking piles on and then they just like take it one step further and they're like, he only has 4 good songs. Like, shut the fuck up. No, his entire discography is awesome. Okay. Shut up. You can be honest about that while simultaneously being like, it's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. No, he's not fucking overrated, dude. That's insane. Okay? That's insane.
That should not make him feel entitled to wasting people's time in the way I feel he did with this performance. Now, from what I've heard, I don't think Frank has lost any of his vocal capabilities, any of his technical talents. I don't think any of that has been lost, even though he hasn't released anything new for people to verify since 2016. Frank is kind of like the musical equivalent of playing hard to get, but with his fans. And ironically enough, kind of needs them to support the career. It's a strange relationship because he is one of the few acts I feel like fans have to actually genuinely put effort into trying to experience in a live setting, like person to person. He's extremely elusive, just digitally speaking. It feels almost impossible to reach him in person. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with keeping that illusion and maintaining that distance, privacy, and curtain.
Man, gatekeeps himself from his fans. Dude, what do you mean? Oh, God. The expectation that people have from a fucking artist is insane. I think everybody's so used to people like myself, people that are like in the online sphere, giving people everything, giving fans everything in their entire lives, that people have this like incredibly high bar for content creators where they're like, yeah, it's not just like, I can't just like listen to his music. I need to know everything that's going on in his fucking life. It's crazy. It's even crazy for someone like myself, but it's especially crazy for someone like him, whose main content isn't his like personality or whatever. No, he don't like his fans. That's accurate. Yeah, the reason why people say he doesn't like his fans is because, it's the lack of releases. I think that's where that comes from for the most part. At least when Nicki Minaj has long bouts of not making music, she's still constantly and consistently interacting with her fan base, and she's also doing features and whatnot. So I think that's the main difference between someone like Nicki Minaj and someone like Frank Ocean, and how they are received. Whereas Frank Ocean is like cryptic, he's very much distant from his fan base. I think that's the reason why they're doing that. Playboi Carti would never do that to his fans, and also people booed Drake at Tyler's concert, and this shows why people were wrong about this dude. He probably canceled that too. Wait, what? The reality is absolutely nobody can know what's going on behind the scenes except him and his label. I bet his contract might be a little better than others, but he's not 100% independent in the music industry. I mean, no.
Maybe a veil, if you'll say, between you and your audience. But you can't promise live performances and be that same person as well. People aren't going to a live show to basically watch you reenact a studio session. These are fans, yes, but you are still performing for them. And if there are Frank Ocean fans who see this and you are...
I'm literally just... Here's the thing. I'm separating the fandom's expectation out of Frank Ocean versus the performance at Coachella, because the performance at Coachella is something that you should and absolutely are valid to criticize. Okay. That's unacceptable. It's like, especially after such a long stint of like not giving anything, like not having anything else going on. He might have something in his like real life. He might have something going on in his personal life or anything like that. But Frank owes you nothing but a Coachella performance in exchange for the $600 ticket you pay for. Exactly. That's my point. If you're a fucking Frank Ocean fan and you go to Coachella to see Frank Ocean, and then Frank Ocean doesn't actually, and Frank Ocean doesn't give you 100%, that's crazy. No, you bought a service and he didn't give it to you. I think that's kind of fucked up. Ice skaters killed his family. What? Jesus Christ.
Are completely on his side and stand for him no matter what he does, and you in some frame of your mind take it as an offensive thing to be called a performer when that's what you're there to do, then you shouldn't be doing it. I know there are plenty that will retort with, there's tragedy amongst his family. He's got personal problems going on. And that's
his brother
completely
died,
understandable. I can only imagine what he went through having lost who he lost and whatever other personal problems he could be going through. But that isn't your job to think about. You dropped bread, you need service. That's how business operates, or how it should. This isn't a restaurant where if you don't like what you've been served, you might get a chance at another item on the menu or possibly your money back. You are wasting hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to attend Coachella. You should not defend a subpar performance. Now, this is a tweet from the Festive Owl that says, I've been speaking to sources about exactly what transpired and how things went so far downhill Sunday for Frank Ocean in Coachella. So here you go. The stage production was supposed to and did contain an ice rink that was constructed and ready to go. Frank decided at the last minute that he no longer wanted it at all. All of the people walking around him at the start of the performance were actual ice skaters, had been practicing for weeks, and were supposed to be skating as part of the production. Coachella had to deconstruct the approved stage that had been planned and signed off on for months in advance, melt the entire ice rink, and then set it up how Frank decided today with no warning, which is what you ended up seeing and caused the hour-long delay. This all happened when doors had already opened for Sunday and people were securing their spots to see him. If the last-minute changes weren't made, he wouldn't have performed at all, leaving the festival without a closing headliner. Frank also personally pulled the plug at the last second on the live stream, which left a very sour taste in many inside Coachella's mouths. That sounds awful. Why'd you tweet it like that? I don't. Ultimately, and I quote, "It just didn't seem like he wanted to be there, but he was obligated. Everything, including him, fell apart last minute. Don't expect to see any coverage from the festival about the set. something that is unprecedented in the history of Coachella. The relationship is not in a good place right now. And when I read something like that, all I can think about is the inconsideration and the lack of care to the people who act as accents to the main star himself, the ornaments to the Christmas tree, the icing on the cake, the people who aid in making the experience what it is, but remain nameless for the sake of the star, for the sake of highlighting and maintaining attention on the main performer. Again, I'm no stranger to feeling completely different to something that I have been planning for a long time at the last minute and just not wanting to do it or foregoing the whole thing altogether. But I'm also not wasting anyone's time, threatening anyone's enjoyability for the night.
I think he owes his fans a little more than one album in 9 years. I mean, even that, I like, what do you mean? Like, no, nobody owes you anything. Just don't be a fan then. You know what I mean? Like, that's so dumb. The entitlement from like fandom is crazy to me sometimes. And I say this as someone who gives everything to his fan base, okay? Literally everything. And motherfuckers still demand more from me. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I don't understand where this comes from. Like, I don't know why people are... I don't know. I find it frustrating when people say stuff like that. I find it frustrating when I hear people be like, he owes more to his fandom. Like, he owes more to his fan base. It's like, well, don't be a fan then. I don't know what to tell you. Like, what do you mean? Then don't be a fan. If you feel like he doesn't care about you because he hasn't made an album, like, why the fuck are you still, where's this sense of entitlement coming from? Like, why do you have it? You know? However, selling a service and not performing and not giving you that service that you fucking paid a gorillion dollars to, when you put together as much money as you possibly could, you're a fucking regular old working class person. Not every single person that goes to Coachella is a fucking influencer, okay? There's a lot of real, normal people that go there because they enjoy the music and they want to see Frank Ocean for the first time in years. And then they, literally take time off from work, put their hard-earned dollars together to, listen to fucking Frank Ocean live. And then he doesn't give them that. That's fucked up. They fly out. They spend an insane amount of money on, overpriced Airbnbs or hotel rooms and shit like that. And then... boom, you can't even get the one thing that you wanted to see. It's fucked up. You don't understand, music stands don't see their favorites as human. Oh yeah, for the record, I'm gonna have Alex on the stream as well. Big numbers I'm hearing. It was record turnout for the WGA strike authorization vote, and the union's roughly 11,000 members. Fewer than 200 voted no. Alex will be on the stream soon for this. For the record, for people saying he performed a full set, from what I understand, he was just lip syncing for half the time, right? I'm a Frank Dick writer, and I wouldn't blame him or feel slighted if he decided to make stop music altogether. Artists don't owe us anything, and their relationship with their art doesn't have a factor in our consent or approval.
By stalling my set and running into their curfew time, people aren't using some of the money from their work checks to fly across the country to see me. Here is someone who says they worked on the ice rink. We all thought it was super dumb but awesome at the exact same time. We lugged those heavy fake rocks, set up lights around and beneath it. It was going to be so dope. The stagehand and production crew morale really dropped when we found out it wasn't being used. Hundreds of man hours, blood, sweat, and tears for nothing. In part, that's just how it goes. But in reality, everyone was super upset. We did hours and hours of work only to scrap it hours before. And all I can say is, at least you got paid. But who wants to work in a business where you don't enjoy what you do for a paycheck? If you did, you'd be Frank Ocean, because it doesn't seem like he's enjoying what he's doing. Seems like he's going through the motions just for the payment. And that's fine to be in that space where you just don't enjoy creating or you don't feel like doing what you're obligated to do, but at least give a shit enough about what it is that you do, even if you're not currently enjoying what it is that you do, so that other people who still enjoy what they do to help you do what you do don't feel discouraged and bummed out like this every time you decide last minute to change your mind. I also saw plenty of people saying that Frank Ocean finessed Coachella, like this was the biggest finesse of all time. You're not finessing the company that you're agreeing to do a service for. You're finessing your own fans, the people who are going to be there when the deal with whatever company you're working with ends. Like I said, it's okay to be elusive digitally, but when you have people actually...
What is your Frank Ocean? Just Drake dancing? This is what they're talking about. Like, that's crazy. He's just vibing. His ass is not performing. Yeah, dude. Eating a big ass burrito and coffee, knowing you have to use 100% of porta potty is not making me feel I don't get Coachella logic. This dude paid all the money and got
Everyone
this.
is mad at Frank Ocean. We're leaving Coachella right now, and this is why. Alright, I'm going to start off by saying Frank was over an hour late, and people got there as early as 8 a.m. today. Secondly, he only performed for about 30 minutes max. Only did 3 of his popular songs. And the biggest thing is he never came out. He was behind the screen the whole entire time. By half the show, it was half empty already. People were leaving the entire time. I'm not saying like it was bad. I mean, that's up to you guys, but people feel very scammed today.
Why? What, he can't even say it's bad, dude. It's so funny. Like, the people... Dude, Frank Ocean fans are crazy with it. They're like, nah, I can't even say it's bad. Like, you can say it's bad, dude. Like, I don't dislike Frank Ocean, but it's still a fun picture. No, I don't even agree with that. But, one, he was 1.5 hours late, so we were all standing in the cold and waiting. 2, he would have really long, weird, silent pauses throughout his set, like 2 minutes of pure silence. 3, he kept bringing on people, but not even participating in the song, just letting them sing or DJ. There was also a 6-minute rave in the middle of his concert. His whole stage setup was made so the audience couldn't see him. No matter how close we were, we couldn't see the stage, so everyone had to watch the screen the whole time. 5, the screen itself would rarely even show him too. You'll see in the videos I will post later, it was like a weird film. Conclusion. People traveled for such a far distance to see him, and people had high expectations because he hasn't played in 6 years, and we all really got disappointed. The whole production was just lacking, and he was just really not bringing much of the whole performance. This part does make sense, for the record. I mean, this is a whole ass essay on TikTok, bro. Zoomers, when their favorite artist, doesn't give them exactly what they want, will fucking write the Das Kapital of TikTok essays, dude. Holy shit. A lot of people left early. Oh, here. This is
should not have stepped on that stage at Coachella, and I'm gonna tell you why. First and foremost, before I blame anybody else, I'm blaming Coachella. Y'all had this man slated to headline the show since 2020. Obviously, 2020, it could not happen. 1, because of COVID. 2, his brother passed away that year. I don't know what kind of timeline y'all put on grief, but this man clearly was not ready to perform. Whether it was him hiding behind scaffolding, singing some song, changing the arrangements of classics like White Ferrari and Chanel, and in general, Frank Ocean just really isn't a performer like that. And that's no shade to him at all. Not a Frank. Baby.
Yeah, it's definitely Coachella's fault that, he took a $4 million payment. Coachella is at fault for paying him $4 million. What are they supposed to do? Put him at fucking gunpoint? Like, fuck Coachella, but like, goddamn. That's like...
If you knew you wasn't ready, which I understand if you weren't, you should have asked them to delay your set. You should not have performed this year, and we all know why. And maybe you did try to get them to agree to a different year for you.
Bro, you wish you had stands like this one in the trenches defending Frank? Yes, dude. That's what I need.
You to perform, and they just said no. But regardless, you did have a contract to honor. And so at the least, even if you didn't want to be there, you should have showed up on time. Especially knowing that Coachella has a strict curfew. To me, coming an hour late to a performance is unacceptable, especially when a curfew is in place. Now, I'm not going to be mad at you like some people for not releasing new music, because if y'all have not caught on, Frank Ocean releases music when Frank Ocean fucking feels like releasing music. So if you got disappointed by no new music, that's on you. But sweetie, People paid thousands of dollars to come and see you perform. Your first performance in over 6 years. And you telling me you couldn't hit the stage on time? That's just, come on, dog. That's
damn. Okay. Dude, you're saying dick riding is crazy, but like even the dick rider is popping off a little bit. Like that's how you know. I mean, that's how you know the fandom is turning a little bit.
Acceptable. Not only that, but babes, you had kids out there camping since noon at the front of the gate just to see you. They gave up their last day of Coachella to wait for you. And lastly, the fans, listen up. What did y'all expect from him? Truthfully, even if you saw a stream of his last time performing live 6 years ago, you would know this man just doesn't perform like that. That's not his bag. His bag is making really
never mind.
good music.
Nope, that was just like 1 second. Now bro, this is insane. This is literally like, wait, okay. There was like one brief moment when he's like, I would go so far as say 98% at fault. Only a little bit of mild criticism for Frank Ocean. And then even the fans are getting fucking criticized. What the fuck? The parasocial relationship between fans and Frank is so funny because he's given them like nothing all for years and they're all like, oh, it's not his fault. I hope he's okay. It's because music is incredibly powerful as a medium. It's so personal. That's why I think like music fandoms are way crazier than everything else. Music is an incredibly powerful medium to convey emotion. And if you feel like this artist gets you, holy fuck, you're just gonna, you fall in love with them. And it's to an unhealthy degree. And it spans across the world too. It's like a global thing. That's why you have so many Americans that are standing K-pop stars, not just Koreans. That's why you have so many people across the world that, love Frank Ocean this much. Cutie is a whole ass, grown ass adult, dude. Think about that. Only a little bit of mild criticism for Frank Ocean. And then even the fans are getting fucking criticized. What the fuck? The parasocial relationship between fans and Frank is so funny because he's given them like nothing all for years and they're all like, oh, it's not his fault. I hope he's okay. It's because music is incredibly powerful as a medium. It's so personal. That's why I think like music fandoms are way crazier than everything else. Music is an incredibly powerful medium to convey emotion. And if you feel like this artist gets you, holy fuck, you're just gonna, you fall in love with them. And it's to an unhealthy degree. And it spans across the world too. It's like a global thing. That's why you have so many Americans that are standing K-pop stars, not just Koreans. That's why you have so many people across the world that, love Frank Ocean this much. Cutie is a whole ass, grown ass adult, dude. Think about that. And she's a fucking stan. She's a stan. She's a Taylor Swift stan. She's a content creator herself and yet still a stan. Like, think about that. That's how powerful it is. Is that why you don't listen to music? You're so different you can't relate to any artist? Joker moment? No, I've listened to a lot of fucking music when I was growing up, and I actually thought that there was something really wrong with my brain personally because I couldn't ever like feel the same way that like so many of my peers felt when they were younger about artists, about their performances. I literally thought that I had like, something wrong with my brain. I thought I was at fault. Now I just don't really give a shit. Like, now I don't really give a shit that I now realize, like, maybe it's unhealthy to love an artist to that degree. You're not beating the A-worded allegations. I don't know. But I understand it. For the record, I understand why people are like that. I don't have an issue with that. Like, I'm not shitting on them. I'm not like, I care about things that are more important or anything like that. I'm not saying that. Instead, you stand LeBron. Okay, like, I do, but, not to this. Like, I don't have posters of LeBron. I just think that he's the GOAT, which he is. So I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. It's not like I follow him around and I'm like constantly thinking about him or anything. I just think he's great. I think he's the GOAT, which he is, both in his private life and also in his private affairs, and also, on the basketball court where it matters.
That we all relate to. To have this expectation that this grieving man is going to do something other than phone it in. Baby, taper your expectations. Because he's never given that. Ever.
Oh
now, I am someone who believes in extending grace when you can. And I do believe Frank Ocean deserves some grace because he did lose his brother. And he did speak about how he and his brother would always go to Coachella, despite him quite literally hating the festival. And I even get why he agreed to perform, because it was his brother's favorite event for them to go to. But this was just a mess all around. And it's really sad to see so many people be negatively affected by this. Not just the fans, but also Frank. I'm sure he's seeing this online right now, after he probably thinks he gave a very emotional performance and really did something that was difficult for him. But also Coachella seeing the negative reaction to this, knowing they have a whole nother weekend to go. For what it's worth, I really do believe he was trying his best to push through. But I think the pressure of it all, the expectations set on him after 6 years of absence, dealing with the grief of his brother, and honestly not having any new music to promote or put on, really just made this a combination of unfortunate events. And that's why we got what we got. I'm hoping that
this is crazy. Saw this TikTok about the performance.
The other mess and mayhem of the Frank Ocean set last night, closing out weekend one of Coachella, is making its way on the timelines. I've seen so many videos of people at the festival, whether they're VIP.
Bro, if you're writing this level of fanfic about a dude who you don't know the background of, like about a dude you don't know personally, to like justify his actions, I don't know what to tell you. Like you're on the sauce, you know? You have gone far beyond. I don't know what it is. I don't know what kind of level of copium this is. It's like nuclear grade. It's crazy. It's actually not. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's a lot of clicks for this shit right now, so I get it. No, I don't think it's not just the clicks, dude. I mean,
coming out.
All fandoms always make up shit to connect the very few dots that they have. Yeah. It's very interesting. In the age of like parasocial content, it's very interesting to see the less people give, the less like artists give, the more fandoms go crazy over it because it's in their minds. It's like the dream phenomena. People were left to basically imagine what dream looks like in their minds. You know what I mean? Until the face reveal. And that's one aspect of it. Like the more private you are as a content creator, the more people project their own desires onto who you are. And I think Frank Ocean's fandom suffers from that a little bit. They fill all the gaps. They filled in the gaps with all the info they lacked. Yeah. And every aspect of that, all the gaps that fandoms have, the way they're filling it is not through like deductive reasoning or anything. They're filling it with their own personal fantasies of who this person is, and therefore the real person can never meet that expectation. So when push comes to shove, and you are faced with the reality of who this person that you have like imagined actually is, you either double down and go way beyond, where you go above and beyond to justify bad actions that they're doing, and you're like, oh, there has to be a reason for this, or you become a massive hater. That's the other side of it. That's the fallen Hasan fan. The Hasan stan to Hasan hater pipeline as well, where people just like become these like unhinged haters after a long time. Why? Because I didn't fucking respond to one of their comments in the chat. You know what I mean? Does TikTok truly examples how bad the performance was? What the fuck? Frank Ocean gave a speech during his Coachella set.
But I have missed you. I want to talk about why I'm here, because it's not because of a new album. It's because, not that there's not a new album, it's like...
They booed him.
It's not right now, it's not right now. But, you know, the last couple years, my life changed so much. And, hold on, check me out. So, I want to just, my brother and I, we came to this festival a lot. And I feel like I was dragged out here half the time because I hated the dust out here. I always left with a respiratory infection or whatever. So I would like avoid coming. I would always end up here. And one of my fondest memories was watching Ray Strummer, I don't know what that stage is called, but watching Ray Strummer with my brother and Travis. I don't know if Travis Taco is here, but we were just dancing in that tent to their music. And I know he would have been so excited to be here with all of us. And
see, I didn't know he lost his brother and that they went to Coachella together. Oh my God, I feel so bad for him.
And I want to say thank you for...
What happened to his brother was super unexpected. His brother died in a car crash. Ryan Moore, the 18-year-old brother of singer Frank Ocean, who went by the name Ryan Brew, died from blunt force head injuries in a single vehicular collision early Sunday morning in Thousand Oaks. The Ventura County Medical Examiner confirmed Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. His brother died 3 years ago to a car accident. Problem is, I just don't think he should have taken this. I don't think he should have performed.
The support and the ears and the love over all this time. And I'm gonna get back to these songs.
He needed the money but didn't want to perform. That's insane, brother. What? I think you're just what? What do you mean he needed the money? He needed $4 million? Like what? Like you're doing the thing that I was talking about where you're just like making up excuses in your mind about like a dude who very famously like last year made like $60,000 cock rings with diamonds on it. Anyway. What? Mia performed at the Grammys after her water broke while having contractions and then drove to the hospital straight after. Vanessa Hudgens performed Grease live after learning her father died. If an artist cares, they will go above and beyond. That's an insane expectation. That's not what we're talking about here. And you're crazy for like even considering that or expecting that from Frank Ocean. That's not what I'm saying at all. That is unhinged on the other side. What the fuck?
Or GA, basically giving people like a full view of what was going on. Now, the first thing we heard last night is that they were not going to be streaming, his set, and people, at home were pissed because they couldn't go to Coachella, so they were hoping to watch the live stream, and that was taken off the Lima schedule. You then had people who are actually there telling, people that basically he was over an hour late, and a good chunk of his set was him lip syncing or just letting the music play out. He sang about like 3 songs, and then he cut his set short because of curfew. Now, after watching the reactions from people, my initial feeling was like, okay, we all were asking if Frank Ocean was going to perform, this weekend or not, especially because he has not posted anything in promotion of his set. I thought, okay, maybe he wasn't ready to come back and perform yet because he's still grieving the loss of his brother. And maybe this was just too soon. But then I got some tea from one of my mutuals on like the PR side of things. And this is what allegedly what happened. This is according to like a subreddit that was posted last night. Let's read it together, kids. I've been speaking with sources about exactly what transpired and how things went so far downhill Sunday for Frank Ocean Coachella. So here you go. The stage production was supposed to and did contain an ice rink that was constructed and ready to go. Frank decided at the last minute that he no longer wanted it at all. All the people walking around him at the start of the performance were actually ice skaters, had been practicing for weeks.
Okay, we already saw all this stuff.
Get to be are hearing from like in the relationship is not in a good place right now. Now, this is all alleged. This is from what people are hearing from like inside festival sources. I'm going weekend 2, so I won't know if he's still going to be there or not until they make like a last minute announcement. But I want to be.
What the fuck do you do also what do you do if you're Coachella? Like for weekend 2, what is he gonna just like not perform on weekend 2? Like what the fuck's gonna happen?
Outside their house, you have to be a bit more respectful and considerate. Now, this obviously doesn't set the stage for anything positive. Like for next weekend, is he still going to show up? Are they still going to want him to perform? If the morale is this bad this time around, will he feel any remorse and want to do better next time? And do the fans have enough self-respect to say, fuck him, I don't want to see Frank Ocean now? Fan dignity is a huge part of why artists kind of do things like this, I feel, because there's never a point where there's enough of them to put their foot down and say, let's just go. And I get when you look at it as a whole, it's not just dignity, it's finances, it's time, probability, like when am I going to have the time, finances, resources to be in this position outside of that this very moment in my life. It's probably like one in a lifetime for some people. And that's unfortunately what a lot of businesses and artists can sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally prey upon. Your desperation to see this artist and what you could have given up to be here exceeding your own self-respect and want to have a great show from start to finish, something memorable. The people behind the scenes, the performers needing work, needing a job, being a small asset to a much larger idea. I'm hearing he was lip syncing a lot of his songs. He awkwardly dancing on stage. The crowd didn't really seem to be that into it, and he left early even though he had been late in getting there. What I saw was also kind of strange because it didn't really seem like a performance. It seemed like they were watching a movie, and not the cinematic kind where everyone's just in shock and awe because the cinematography is just so great. Not theatrical in any sense of the word. It honestly felt like this was a pre-recorded studio session that Frank Ocean had put out.
This is the danger of this job being an entertainer. If you sit at your desk and push keys on a keyboard, you can call sick or take a day off. If you're a musician and you agree to perform, this is not an option. Fuck you mean? First of all, the average person can't take a day off. That's not even true. And secondly, no. Like, this is the one time where you're supposed to be working, dude. What the fuck? Frank Ocean doesn't owe anybody shit if we're talking about his personal life and what you want to hear from him, what you want to see from him. When's the next album? Blah, blah, blah. All this shit. Okay? The reality is that, like, you don't have to be a fan. He's not, like, forcing you to fucking maintain the fandom. it's clear that he doesn't even give that much of a shit, right? And I say this as someone who is day in, day out, trying to at least entertain some of you, trying to educate some of you. Of course, what he's doing is infinitely cooler and way more valid. It's like actually an artistic medium. I'm not making that comparison, but like I do as someone who does give his all to his own fucking fan base to make content and to entertain you. I don't think anyone else owes you anything. Okay. However, there's one aspect to this. When you've made an obligation after fucking 6 years, you're supposed to fulfill that commitment
on a big screen and show to the people at Coachella. Because from what I saw, it didn't even look like you could see him on stage. What performance? I'm a person who believes that anyone with any kind of following or influence should very much so parent their online interaction. It can make you go crazy. You can
One album in 8 years giving it his all. I didn't say that. I did not say that.
Up in a world where you're constantly seeking others' validation, worried about what people are saying about you, obsessing over opinions of yourself that you just cannot control. But I do think there is a piece of interacting with the people who support you so much so that you know when you're doing something that they don't like. And if the people that you have to work with aren't telling you, or you're not socially aware enough to know when you're disrespecting people's time, maybe scrolling through your Instagram or your Tumblr or your Twitter and seeing an angry fan tweet telling you, fuck you for ruining that performance. I used the last of my car insurance money to get here. Might make you look at it and be like, damn, that might have been a little fucked up. I might not have wanted to do that. When you got people wasting their time, their resources, shit that they can't get back, and you don't appear remorseful about it in the slightest, yeah, they probably gonna shit on you. I hope Frank apologizes, and if he is back next weekend, does significantly better and puts in more effort. Because again, this was you who signed whatever contract between you and this business. Fulfill your obligations, and if you don't want to do it next time.
Fans and chatters acting like they're record execs. No, I think the truth is somewhere in between. This is Herman Miller? No way. No fucking way. This is the actual Herman Miller executive? Bro, I got some thoughts on this. Okay, as someone who's gotten a free one from them, I'm sitting on their free chair right now. Anyway, but finishing off the Frank Ocean thing, okay? Your expectations should be normal, okay? Your expectations from your favorite artist should be whatever they choose to show you. However, yeah, if you fucking, if you go and purchase an album and the album has no music in it, you'd be like, well, what the fuck? You just you just fucked me. What is this? Like, you told me that there was an album in here, and I open up the fucking disc, and there's no CD or there's no music in the CD. Now, obviously, no, that doesn't happen in the world of streaming anymore. I'm not dating myself, but I'm just trying to give you a point of reference for you to understand. And that is basically the same thing here. This is a bit of a scam, okay? You don't do anything for 6 years, and then you turn around and this is your Coachella performance. People have paid a lot of money to see you. That's fucked up. That's actually unacceptable. So yeah, I think that is silly. Okay, it is. So like I said, the truth is somewhere in the middle, because people who want more from him, who are just like, he's not giving us anything. He's not giving his fandom anything. It's like, okay, well, he's not supposed to. Like, he doesn't have to. He's not holding you at gunpoint to keep being his fan because 6 years ago you listened to his music and you put it on your sex playlist like I did. You know what I mean? Frank Ocean Radio goes hard in general. Yeah, he can drop music whenever he wants, but when you agree to a performance, you kind of got to do it. Yep. I have no ill will against Frank Ocean, even though he unfollowed me after I said, "Oh, the King Jezza," when he was talking about Corbin. It's fine. It's okay. That's unrelated to the issue. I am being super impartial when I say that. Like promising you're dropping an album and getting all the pre-sales, and then the album is 3 tracks, 2 of them are remixes, the other is an interlude. Yeah. So he used to follow you? Yes. But it's okay. Like I said, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. Okay? DeSantis suggests building prison near Disney World. Touts bill to assert Disney control. Yeah, good luck with that, Ron.
Right first.
We got the writer strike news that we're going to be talking about. Something for later, but Matt Walsh going batshit crazy. White woman viciously attacked by a group of black teens. You absolutely never see videos like this with the races reversed. Never. Doesn't exist. At some point, we need to discuss why this kind of violence literally only goes one way. Yeah, I can explain it to you. It's pretty easy. Are you ready for this? It's because white people, don't do this because the cops do it for them. That's it. That's the reason. No, there are plenty of videos of white people doing this, as a matter of fact. Or even black people doing it at the behest of white people or at the behest of white supremacy, all the time, literally nonstop, and you defend it. That's the difference. You defend it. You defend it when you see the institutionalized violence. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway. I hate him so much. You would never be like, why this violence goes one way about black people being brutalized by cops? Yeah. There's so much to cover. Let's get started. I think before we get to Disney and Legal Eagle and before we get to the CEO that's going to fucking frustrate me, first of all, again, shouts out to Chauncey for a wonderful, brilliant, thoughtful video. He is great. He's cool. I'm glazing him super hard because I want him to still come on the stream at some point. It'd be great. Go like his video. There's a lot to cover, though. A teenager is shot after going into the wrong home to pick up his brother. And, of course, the 8 police officers involved in the killing of Jalen Walker will not be charged. Akron, Ohio police shot the 25-year-old black man 46 times, including 5 in the back as he ran from a traffic stop in 2022. So there's that. There's a lot. There's a lot in the universe that is fucked up and wrong. Matt Walsh will never say anything about any of those things, or if he does say things about those things, he will be supportive, of course, because he thinks that that's good. Because he's a gigantic fucking racist. Also, we got pro-Trump, Stop the Steal organizer, Ali Alexander, the king of the Habsburg jaw, who has now apologized after being accused of asking teenagers for dick pics. In one message, Alexander allegedly complained that a 15-year-old wasn't sending him jack-off material. I am so shocked to find this out. I mean, guys, oh man, so shocked that every conservative attack is just pure projection. Every projection is a confession, okay? Every conservative line of attack is a confession. Okay. But yeah, let's get started on an update from the story that we covered last week. A suspect facing 15 years behind bars for leaking top secret U.S. documents. Why? In order to, of course, tame his Discord kittens. Let's take a look.
Classified documents from the Pentagon, including new information on what U.S. intelligence agencies knew about Chinese spy balloons, as questions grew about why the airmen had top secret security clearance. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is in Washington with the latest. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This morning, the 21-year-old Air National Guardsman accused of leaking those documents remains behind bars. But as for that Chinese spy balloon that grabbed the nation's attention for weeks, turns out it may not have been the only one. This morning, new revelations from that trove of leaked top-secret documents. This time, eye-popping information about Chinese spy balloons, like the one that the U.S. shot down in January after it passed over sensitive national security sites. The Washington Post reporting that the leaks reveal U.S. intelligence agencies were aware of up to 4 additional Chinese spy balloons, including one that flew over a U.S. carrier strike group in the Pacific and another that crashed in the South China Sea. The suspect charged with transmitting that information, Airman Jack Teixeira, arrested at his Massachusetts home on Thursday, worked as a computer technician with the Massachusetts Air National Guard. He made his first court appearance on Friday, accused of violating parts of the Espionage Act. Teixeira had high-level top-secret clearance, which the Pentagon has said was needed to do his job. But lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are demanding more answers.
We need to know the facts. We need to know who this airman was, why he felt he had the authority or ability to show off confidential documents, secret documents to his friends.
The system failed. This is a major failure. Some people need to be fired over this.
Meanwhile, Secretary of State Antony Blinken arriving in Japan for a G7 summit, trying to calm allies.
What I've heard so far, at least, is an appreciation for the steps that we're taking, and it's not affected our cooperation. I just haven't seen that.
But there is no question a leak like this is damaging, not only revealing secret information, but in some cases the sources and methods used by the intelligence community to obtain it. The president and the Pentagon have now called for an extensive review of how secret information is stored and who has access to it. Robin?
A lot of people want answers to those questions. All right, Martha, as always, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for
You will never be Japanese Blinken before the U.S. government tries to ban Discord. No, they'll just like heavily surveil it. They will surveil it extra hard. I think that's what's going to happen. And that's not a bad thing, I guess, if you're surveilling right-wing Discords. But of course, it's probably not going to happen. They're going to surveil, random-ass Discords that they weren't surveilling already, I think. Like, none of this, I don't personally think, for example, that this will turn into, taking down all the fucking weird, like, cum tribute Discords or all the fucking cyber stalking Discords and shit like that. You know what I mean? Which is what Discord is for. Hold on. Anyway, totally agree. It's weird that the FBI didn't know about the leak until it was posted on the Lefty Discord. I think it's understandable that they didn't fucking follow the leak because it was in like some random 20-person Discord. I get that. Anyway, here is yet another expected but still profoundly awful disappointing, psychotic mass shooting that happened yet again in the country where, in the only country where it seems to happen all the time. Dadeville mass shooting in Alabama. 4 people were killed and 28 were injured at an Alabama birthday party. It wasn't just a regular birthday party. It was a Sweet 16. You know what I mean? It's like these are little kids, from what I understand. Number 1 in the world for mass shootings. You already know. Tragedy struck Alabama Saturday night as gunfire erupted at a Sweet 16 birthday party in the heart of Dadeville, killing 4 young people and injuring 28 others, some of them critically. The investigation in Tallapoosa County lasted throughout the day Sunday with no announcement of any arrests in the case. This morning, in the small community of about 3,000, grief counselors will be on hand at the Dadeville High School, where at least 2 of the victims were among the school's 485 students. It's an unreal tragedy, Dadeville High Principal Chris Hand said. I'm so devastated right now. We have a really good school, and these were great students. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the police have given very little details on what actually took place, how this happened, who the suspects are. Did the suspects die? Did the shooters actually die? Did they get away? Is there an active shooter that is like running around? You know what I mean? Anyway. So, we don't know, but most of the injured are teenagers.
Begin with some terrible news. It's a mass shooting in Alabama at a Sweet 16th birthday party. 4 people were killed and 28 others hurt. Most of them were teenagers. Now, this happened at a dance studio in the city of Dadeville, Alabama. Witnesses report that there were multiple shooters, but so far, police have made no arrest in this case. There have already been 31 mass shootings just this month in America, and today is only the 17th day of April. Omar Villafranca is in Dadeville, Alabama, with more on the story. Omar, you certainly don't think of a Sweet 16 party as a deadly place, but that is the world we live in today, unfortunately. Good morning to you.
Good morning. When people say it can happen anywhere, this is what they mean. Dadeville is small town USA, population just over 3,000. The venue where it happened, right behind me, right on the old main street. That dance studio used to be the old bank. And for teenagers, this was probably the place to be this weekend, a birthday party. Everybody was probably talking about it, a Sweet 16. And then on Saturday, the unthinkable happened again.
Oh my God.
It's just like odd to say the unthinkable happened when it's, I'm even noticing the media coverage change around this to show you like how our culture surrounding mass shootings like this is changing a little bit. Like even they're saying the unthinkable happened again, as in like there is an air of like sarcasm in that sentiment, right? That's actually very important to recognize here, which means that like gun violence is becoming so normalized that our coverage and our response to it as a nation is also basically and our lack of action against it is basically expected. I think that is it's no longer seen as like inconceivable. You know what I mean? It's a very, very scary, very dark, very grim future that we are living in now. You know? The unthinkable happened yet again. Fucked up.
After Saturday night's deadly shooting at Mahogany Masterpiece Dance Center, ambulances, police cars, and parents descended on the local hospital.
There was peoples everywhere running and yelling and crying and going on.
I got shot right here. Right here.
18-year-old Tanaya Cox was shot 3 times. She says she saw multiple gunmen inside the dark club.
I just saw two in the bathroom, and that's why I ran.
Police have not released any details about the suspect or suspects and would not say if anyone is in custody for the attack.
We'll never be the same.
Pastor Ben Hayes led a vigil for the victims Sunday night.
I don't understand
Most of the kids there were from Dadeville. This impacted us a lot.
He says one of the deceased is senior star athlete Phil Dowdell. It was his sister's birthday party. Their mother was also shot. Dowdell was just weeks from graduation and recently committed to play football at Jacksonville State next year.
He was a good person.
Daquan Doss says he was with Dowdell at the party, but the two ran in opposite directions when the shooting started.
I was standing right beside him. And that thing, the shooting went on. I think he went right into it. I went opposite way. I wish I could have pulled him out.
Police have been very tight-lipped about this investigation. There's a lot we do not know. We don't.
Like, I don't understand. I truly do not understand how. I understand why this happens all the time. I've covered this story, this exact same story, a million times over. What I don't fucking understand is how the cops are not revealing more information about what is going on in this tiny ass fucking town, dude. This is not a major hub. It's a small town. Everybody knows each other. How the fuck are the cops not giving any additional information about whether or not who the shooters were? Did they die? Are they running? What the fuck is going on?
Know how many suspects they're looking for or how many suspects they're looking for, if it's 1, 2, based on what witnesses are saying. We don't know what kind of gun was used. We don't know the motive, but we're hoping to learn more at a press conference later on this morning. Tony?
Yeah, we know the result, and that's knowing a lot. Omar, thank you very much.
Calls for justice across the country after a Kansas City teen went.
For these things, sometimes the FBI comes in and tells police departments what they can and can't say, sometimes restrictive. I don't get it. I mean, this is a black town. So, of course, that, that should show you, that can, clue you in a little bit on, it clues you in Alabama about the nature of the relationship between the officers there and the cops there and the people that live there in general. It's oftentimes more antagonistic than you would think, like an occupying force. We're going to do this in a second. We're going to cover the story in a second, but I don't know if there is additional details on this. I don't know if there's any additional details because, this is an update, I guess. Is this from today?
My name's Mike Segrist, and I'm the district attorney.
No, this is from yesterday. They haven't given a new update on it yet, right? Guys, for the people in the chat speculating, what if it's the cops who did it or whatever? We don't know anything. Stop. Police do more, defund the police. Check W. Yeah, totally. Police should do anything, not more, anything, for how fucking adequately funded they are. Not only, they are the highest, they receive over 50% in some municipalities of all the fucking state revenue, all of the localities' revenue. And yet they still flub everything. Come on now. Aiden Ross's downfall. You fucking dummy. It's insane. They've also never even been defunded, but dumbass dick riders like you constantly fucking say, "Oh, dude, these guys, they have such a tough job and they're being yelled at and they're being defunded." It's like, no, that never happened. We don't know anything yet. I'm not saying like that there was a cop that did it or anything like that. I would like to know more details. I mean, I assume, from what I've seen from people on the ground that have been interviewed by the media, they are shocked at the level of incompetence coming from the police in this regard. Okay? Where, like, the fact that they don't know if there's an active shooter still out there, for example, is insane. I don't know how long shocked let me out. No, they're still shocked at, like, because there's incompetence and then there's like malicious negligence. When you see an active shooting situation where 4 people died and like 20 kids were injured, okay? And then you don't get details on, like, you hear who the victims are, but you don't get further details on whether or not the shooter is still out there. Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. Okay, it's been 22 fucking hours since the last time they did the press release. That's wild. This is not like New York City where the shooter pulled an Assassin's Creed and like hid in the fucking crowd and ran away. This is a tiny ass town. Anyway. Yeah, but we covered all this stuff. I don't really know what will come of this, but at this point, it's just like, it's just every day. It's just every fucking day. There's so much violence in this country. It's insane. Every day, there's another mass shooting happening in this country. Jesus Christ. Anyway. Given the severity of the stories here, I'm not going to run an ad break. I'm going to run an ad break, but I'm not going to segue it. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. I don't want to do like a fun, quippy segue in between. We are now moving on to Missouri. A teenager was shot after going to the wrong house to pick up his brother. And the person who shot him was questioned by the police and then released. Right. Let's take a look.
Went to the wrong home to pick up his younger brothers, and the homeowner shot him. 16-year-old Ralph Yarl is recovering in the hospital in stable condition. His family describes him as a typical high schooler who loves to play the bass clarinet. He has been looking forward to starting college and majoring in chemical engineering. Police say Yarl's family say that he was given the address 115th Terrace, but he mistakenly went to a home at 115th Street instead. The shooter has been released, and there is sparking protest nationwide right now and outrage nationwide. CNN's Camila Bernal live for us in Los Angeles with more on this. Good morning to you, Camila. What is the status on this investigation?
Good morning, Don. Authorities say more is needed to go forward, and they need a statement from Ralph Yarl. He is doing well. He's in the hospital. He's recovering. But the family says that this is a long road, especially when it comes to his mental and his emotional health. This is a teenager that is being described as friendly and well-mannered. He loves music, and the family says plays multiple instruments, always had one in hand. He was dreaming about graduating and going to West Africa. All of this, of course, is going to be a lot more difficult now because he went to 115th Street instead of Terrace. He was just a block away from his brothers when he was shot.
Bro, I can't
The Kansas City community protesting.
I can't begin to fathom how glaringly obvious the sentiment expressed by our institutions are when you see a situation like this where like a young black teenager is shot for the crime of like ringing on the wrong doorbell, and the mistreatment by the state of the perpetrator is like deliberate. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm sorry. It is. It has to be. Like, it's basically the same as like the Daniel Perry circumstance where it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, you are a criminal there's a reasonable doubt here of your criminality because you're a black kid. Okay? Because you're black. Like, they want to basically reinforce the incredibly scary precedent that, like, you shoot a black kid, that's stand your ground, baby. You know what I mean? That's how it is. And from what I understand, he shot him and then shot him again.
So you probably heard this story. It's really awful. The 16-year-old kid who knocked on a door in a house in Kansas City, Missouri to look for his siblings whom he was picking up. Wrong house. The homeowner, instead of letting him go on his way, instead shoots the kid in the head and then shoots him again. The kid survived and is in recovery, but is in bad shape, obviously. The kid was black. Kid is black. The shooter is white. And there's been a lot of conversation around this about racism, rightfully so, about the wide availability of guns, rightfully so, about the lack of a benefit of the doubt that black children get, rightfully so. What I want to bring up really quickly, just because of my interest in sort of the history of gun regulation, of gun culture, and this sort of thing, is how this is sort of exactly this scenario from the perspective of the homeowner, the white homeowner. This scenario of a young black person coming to your home, probably a criminal, whom you can then shoot, is exactly what so many mouthpieces for the gun industry has been selling for decades. It's part of the pitch that you own one of these weapons. You own a lot of these weapons to defend your homestead, to defend your home, and from whom this image of urban crime, of urban disorder, of essentially black people. It's part of the pitch. And I don't think you can understand what has happened here without understanding that.
Exactly. It's the same attitude. It's spot on. It's reinforcing the narrative of, it's reinforcing the narrative that you need a gun to defend yourself from urban crime. 100%. That's exactly what it is. It's the same principle behind the McCloskeys becoming famous within the Republican world for running outside with their AR-15s when there were Black Lives Matter protests happening in their gated community. This is a way to sell guns. It's a way to sell guns through a white supremacist fantasy of vigilante justice being enacted towards those who you are terrified of, those who you believe have done something wrong. Absolutely what's going on. That's why I said it's the exact same mentality behind Governor Greg Abbott fantasizing about immediately pardoning Daniel. I don't want to fuck up his name. It's Daniel Perry is the shooter, I think, right? I don't want to. Yeah, it is Daniel Perry who was the. Yeah. Garrett Foster is the person who he shot. But it's the same principle. Because Daniel Perry went to a Black Lives Matter rally, said he was going to shoot people. He fantasized about shooting protesters, and then he drove his car into a Black Lives Matter rally and then shot one of the Black Lives Matter protesters. And he was convicted. He was found guilty by a jury of his peers beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay? And yet, Governor Greg Abbott wants to pardon him. Why? Because that's what they want. They want the law to protect them and them only. if you go out and you shoot Black Lives Matter protesters, like you will be safe. Don't worry. That's the message they want to put out there.
On Sunday, after 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot as he was trying to pick up his siblings last week. Police say Yarl accidentally went to the wrong address, where he was shot and seriously wounded by the homeowner. Officers arrived at the scene after a neighbor called 911 and took the homeowner immediately into custody.
Our heart goes out to the juvenile victim, and more than anything, to make sure that this child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard, to make sure there is justice for this person.
The homeowner, who has not been identified, was released after 24 hours pending further investigation. The police department says they're waiting to obtain a formal statement from the victim and further forensic evidence.
I want everyone to know that I'm listening.
What? Like, what? You need to know if he was asking for it? Is that what you want? What do you mean? Hey, what if he died? What if he died? No impact statement from the victim in that regard. So what do you do in that situation? You just like, oops, guess we can't solve it. We just need further forensic evidence. Like, what do you mean? A person literally just went up and fucking domed a teenager. This makes no sense. You would need that. You would need that if you believe that this person was truly acting in self-defense. Yeah, the kid is still alive, yes. And the fact that they didn't actually, like, you know, keep him under custody and immediately launch a formal investigation implies that they kind of do give him credence to that, you know, protecting your ground shit, you know, the castle doctrine.
And I understand the concern that we are receiving from the community. The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case. I do recognize and understand the community's concern.
Yarl's aunt says her nephew loves music and is a section leader in his march.
2 points of clarification concerning the shooting of Ralph Yarl. The suspect was not detained for 24 hours. He was released in under 2 hours after providing a statement to the police. 2, police recorded a statement from Ralph in his hospital bed on Friday. So, like, they already have his statement.
Marching band. She says his goal is to attend Texas A&M University to study chemical.
The cops literally are behaving like me memeing when I say, like, oh, well, what are the vibes of this kid? Maybe he deserved to be bullied, that sort of thing. But in this circumstance, it's like literally a real situation where a dude shot and intentionally tried to kill a black teenager that came to his door. Okay? Like, they're like, hey, but what about his vibes, though? Was he good at the clarinet? You know what I mean? You want to bet that shooter's a cop or is friendly with the police department? I mean, possibly. Who knows?
Engineering. Civil rights attorneys Lee Merritt and Benjamin Crump are representing the victim and his family and demanding swift action, and are calling the shooting horrendous and unjustifiable.
As a mother of 3 children, this enrages me.
And protesters gathering Sunday outside the home where Yarl was shot, demanding justice.
He is alive. He is healing. Yes. So I just want to tell you thank you for being here because my nephew is alive.
And the homeowner was released. State law says you either have to charge someone or release them after 24 hours. And authorities here say they need more evidence. They want to talk to this teenager.
Yeah. He wasn't released after 24 hours. He was released after 2 hours. So mainstream media playing a little fast and loose with the situation here. Also, no further evidence. Bro, he shot him. How much you want to bet this is some fucking Gran Torino shit? I don't know anything. Okay? I don't know what's going on, but I'm willing to fucking bet that this particular situation, it's an old racist ass dude, I'm assuming. And they were just like, oh, he's just an old guy. You know, he doesn't mean harm to anybody, you know, except for the obvious harm he's conducted. You know? So, what are we going to do? We're going to put him in fucking jail? He might even be like an old cop or something. Apparently he's 84. Oh, there's information on him already?
And they want to continue this investigation. So he was released, and it's part of the reason why people are so upset this morning and why they're asking for justice. Don?
A lot more to unfold in this investigation. Thank you, Camilla Bernal.
I want to turn now to some last minute.
Wait. Accused teen shooter in Kansas?
The Kansas City community protesting on Sunday after 16-year-old Ralph Yarl was shot as he was trying to pick up his siblings last week. Police say Yarl accidentally went to the wrong address, where he was shot and seriously wounded by the homeowner. Officers arrived at the scene after a neighbor called 911 and took the homeowner immediately into custody.
Our heart goes out to the juvenile victim, and more than anything, to make sure that this child and this child's family knows that there are people working hard, a number of people working hard, to make sure there is justice for this person.
The homeowner, who has not been identified, was released after 24 hours pending further investigation. The police department says they're waiting to obtain a formal statement from the victim and further forensic evidence.
I want everyone to know that I'm listening, and I understand the concern that we are receiving from the community. The information that we have now, it does not say that it's racially motivated. That's still an active investigation. But as a chief of police, I do recognize the racial components of this case. I do recognize and understand the community's concern.
Everyone's a liberal. Everyone's a liberal. That's like, did Kamala Harris write this, dude? Everyone's a liberal. I recognize the racial components of this, but as of now, we do not believe that there's enough evidence to you know, declare there's a racial component. That's awesome. Yeah, no, it's like, when they say that, they mean like, we know the victim is a black teenager and the shooter is a white guy. That's what they're saying, I think. But I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not even a fucking white guy. Maybe he's a black guy. Who knows? I don't have any details of the dude, but old people or people in general in America are fucking terrified. Okay? Oh yeah, they said he's white. Actually, never mind. It is a white guy. But old people in this country, and just like Republicans in this country, gun owners in this country, are fucking terrified. Okay? They're fucking terrified. They constantly watch Fox News, and Fox News is like, black people are coming to your neighborhood. They're going to burn down your favorite Applebee's. Like, all day, every day, that's what they see.
Yarl's aunt says her nephew loves music and is a section leader in his marching band. She says his goal is to attend Texas A&M University to study chemical engineering. Civil rights attorneys Lee Merritt and Benjamin Crump are representing the victim and his family and demanding swift action, and are calling the shooting horrendous and unjustifiable.
As a mother of 3 children, this enrages me.
And protesters gathering Sunday outside the home where Yarl was shot, demanding justice.
He is alive. He is healing. So I just want to tell you thank you for being here, because my nephew is alive.
Now, the homeowner was placed on a 24-hour hold. This is according to Missouri state law. The thing here is after those 24 hours, he either has to...
He wasn't. That's bullshit. Anyway. Neighbor spoke with CNN. Said they did not hear the shooting because they were asleep, but did say once awake. We came outside. The victim was laying on the street surrounded by a few of our other neighbors. Wild. So, like, a bunch of other neighbors came outside and didn't call the cops? Like, what the fuck? That's nice. He continues to improve. He's responsible for making good progress. After spending 3 nights in the hospital, Ralph is recovering at home, being cared by his mother, who's a nurse. Family turning bankrupt. We have been informed by his family that it was a white man who shot their 16-year-old son, Crump said, explaining that he believes the teen was shot because he's black. It is inescapable not to observe the racial dynamics here, said Crump. If roles were reversed, he continued, how much outrage would there be in America? At a weekend rally, community and family members marched and demonstrated in front of the man's house, calling for charges to be filed. Protesters marched as they chanted "Justice for Ralph," "Black Lives Matter," and carried signs reading, "Ringing a doorbell is not a crime," and "The shooter should do the time." The teen's father said, "We want charges. That's all we want." The family is seeking swift action. When he was trying to pick up his younger brother, when he mistakenly rang the doorbell at the wrong house, a man shot Ralph twice, and now he's in critical condition. Someone called the cops or the man wouldn't have been arrested. Man, they didn't even call the fucking ambulance. Do you see? Like, they didn't call 911. People in this neighborhood saw a dude in their neighborhood shoot a black teenager in their neighborhood and immediately didn't go, gunshots, let's call 911. Something is missing from the story? Yes. Details about the shooter. The shooter's motive. He crawled 3 houses before getting help? What? One of the Jarl's attorneys also says that the shooter said, "Don't come back around here," and immediately shot the teen. Jarl went to 3 homes for help. At the third, Jarl, who had been shot in the head, was told to lie on the ground and put his hands in the air. What? Why is CNN not mentioning any of this shit? I know he's out of the hospital now. And his situation continues to improve. And like I said, his mother is taking care of him. His mother's a nurse. I don't get why. I don't understand why CNN is not actually talking about any of this other shit. Emerging details of the incident illustrate the strength and bravery shown by the high school junior after he was shot. A neighbor who asked not to be identified tells CNN she called 911 after Ralph came to her door bleeding. She was directed to stay inside her home by the emergency operator for her safety, as the shooter's location was unknown. "I wanted to help him, but they kept saying we don't know where the shooter is at," the woman said. She complied initially, then went outside with towels to help suppress the bleeding. "I kneeled down next to him and I said, 'What's your name? Who shot you?' She said Ralph explained he was supposed to pick up his brother. We figured out then he went to the wrong street, which is no excuse for what happened," she said. "This is somebody's child. I had to clean blood off my door, off my railing. That's someone's child's blood. I'm a mom. This is not okay." While waiting for the ambulance, bleeding from the injuries to the left side of his head and his right arm, the neighbor said Ralph told her he runs the high school track team and plays the bass clarinet and band. "He was very alert," she said. "He's a very strong man, very brave." The aunt's TikTok.
Police say someone inside a Northland home shot a teen in error after the boy drove to the wrong address to pick up younger siblings. Good evening. I'm Shannon Russo.
I'm Kevin Barry.
An error.
He was supposed to go to a home on Northwest 115th Terrace. Instead, he went to a home 1 block over on Northeast 115th Street.
Lake County Prosecutor's Office says that they have not received any.
Wow. an error. Whoopsie, just did a hate crime. Bro, at this point, I'm sorry, but like this has to be, I feel like they're tilting the scales a little bit, right, with their coverage on this shit. I don't know if it's because they partially feel like they're responsible for all the racial animosity that they have highlighted, that they have basically, given constant coverage to, where it's like black people are all over the streets. Urban crime is coming to your neighborhood. Watch out. Like, that's all they fucking talk about. So maybe they bear a little bit of responsibility for that. So they're like covering their footsteps, or they're just the same exact amount of racist. And ultimately are covering it this way because they don't give a shit, or because, and this is perhaps the most nefarious, they are scared of the understandable consequences of the inaction from the state, that ultimately they don't want any protests to happen. So they're basically trying to soften the coverage of the issue without giving you a full accounting of what happened, so that there are no protests, which is why they're engaging in what I would consider to be almost a cover-up at this point.
Any criminal referral. But this is still a very active investigation, with police telling us that this teen is in the hospital with injuries that are considered to be life-threatening. At the home where neighbors say it happened, a man vacuums the front steps after replacing a glass door. Fox 4 asked what happened.
I guess you'll have to check with other authorities.
Well, do you know this? Quote, suspect was brought to headquarters to give a statement. Older visitors also did not answer questions. Do you know any details about it?
Yeah, but I'm not at liberty to give that out, man. You know that.
Why not? Well, you're a friend.
Yeah, he's my buddy, man, and I love him to death.
Is he an older guy? It's not this guy, right?
No, come on, man. We all take care of one another, Yeah. So.
Yo, there was nothing that was an error about that shooting.
Yeah, they take care of one another,
My nephew rang the doorbell. He opened up the door. He shot him in the head and said, "Don't come back here again."
He had surveillance on the house. He knew who was at the door. Oh, yeah. Ring cameras and all, right?
When he fell down, he shot him again. That is not an error.
City police say someone inside a Northland home shot a teen in error after the boy drove to the wrong address.
It's like covering Emmett Till is an error.
Last night, my nephew was on his way.
Okay. Yar was shot in the head, which cracked his skull and left him with a critical traumatic brain injury, the attorney said. While the teenager was still on the ground, the homeowner opened fire a second time, striking Jarl in the upper right arm. How the encounter turned violent so quickly still confuses Jarl as he recovers, his aunt Faith Spoonmore said. We'll remind him, like, Ralph, you're alive, buddy. And then he has the times where he's like, why? I did nothing wrong. Why? I did nothing wrong. And he just cannot understand why, Spoonmore said. So it's waves. He goes through waves. Merritt said Jarl is now in stable condition and out of the hospital. Police have not released the name of the race of the resident who opened fire. He was taken into custody and held for 24 hours, the maximum. He was not held for 24 hours. Why is everyone in the media saying he was held for 24 hours? Maximum for a suspect until felony charges are filed, Police Chief Stacey Graves said. CNN said he was held for like less than 2 hours and he was a white 80-year-old guy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Police have not released the name of the race of the resident who opened fire. The Kansas City, Missouri Police Department said in a statement Monday that they've submitted the investigative case to the Clay County Prosecutor's Office to review charges. Yarl said the person who shot him was a white man who seemed angry and hostile by his presence on the property. His attorney said. Merritt said the teenager miraculously saved his own life by fleeing and banging on at least 3 neighbors' doors for help. 3. And on the 3rd home, Merritt said the neighbor told Yarl to lie on the ground and put his hands in the air. He complied and then passed out. So even that fucking last neighbor who was like, I'm a mom and I wanted to save his life or whatever, it seems like even she wasn't so fucking nice. I don't know. Maybe they weren't home though. Well, actually, you know what? I bet the mom that came out with the towels and shit was a separate party. Because the person who called 911 said that there were people around the kid that were like looking down at him. Merritt said the neighborhood where the shooting occurred is predominantly white and conservative and commonly referred to among locals as God's country. We've heard reports from black people who live in the neighborhood, who visit the neighborhood, that there seems to be a standing hostility towards black presence in that community. Karen Skinner, who has lived on 115th Street for more than 30 years, said the shooting in her neighborhood surprised her, given how her block is typically quiet and crime isn't an issue. It's a neighborhood in which I'm not even going to walk on my neighbor's yard because they're all very well manicured. Yeah. Skinner said, adding that the street includes many older white homeowners whose children have since grown. In recent years, newer families have been moving in, including a black family, she said, but most residents keep to themselves. By the way, that's what they mean when they say there's no crime. They just mean like there's no presence of black people in our neighborhoods. Yeah, someone in the chat also said this, but in a lot of instances, a lot of people themselves don't even fucking recognize that they're living in a sundown town because they just simply never see black people around. So they just take it for granted and think like, oh no, like there's no crime here, right? And they don't even realize like their neighbors are fucking psychotic racists half the fucking time because, you know, there's no additional racist component, triggering their outwardly aggressive stance against black people in the sense, and by that I mean the presence of a black body. But also, a lot of those people are also blind to these realities. You know, they're blind to the realities of white supremacy in this country. They're privileged. They are unaware. They don't recognize it. So they think it must not exist here. Anyway. Yeah. Media is reporting that the Kansas City man who shot Ralph Yarl, 16, is a white man in his 80s. He hasn't been rearrested as investigators consider whether he's protected by Missouri's Stand Your Ground law. And for you to understand, Stand Your Ground is quite literally the reason for the reason why Stand Your Ground exists as a law is so that the guy who shot this kid, this teenager, can get away with it. That's like the entire purpose of Stand Your Ground. For the record, it's not for like the random cases where like you do have a legitimate home invasion and you fucking shoot to defend yourself. It's not that. This is the whole purpose of it. The whole purpose of it is like, oh, I was afraid. It gives you almost cop-like powers to do what cops do all the time, which is, this isn't Stand Your Ground. This is Castle Doctrine. Castle Doctrine is the original version of Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground laws that are designed in places like Florida and whatnot actually come from the Castle Doctrine. It's the same principle. Stand Your Ground is simply a continuation of the Castle Doctrine beyond the Castle Doctrine, outside of your own house. Okay? All of it is also because self-defense, as it's written in the fucking rule of law, is not enough. Just understand that. Because you do have a right to defend yourself. Okay? You just don't have a right to offense yourself. Okay? You can't do like offensive maneuvers normally at the behest of defending yourself, which is why castle doctrine and stand your ground exists to begin with. Okay? That's it. That's why they have extra laws, you know, circumstances where like maybe you didn't actually defend yourself, but you can get away with it by claiming you did because the law allows you to do so. This is the express purpose of it. Anyway. Great stuff in the worst fucking nation on earth. In the wealthiest nation on earth that mistreats its poor citizens, its black citizens like this on a daily fucking basis. Meanwhile, you got dipshits like Matt Walsh talking about white woman viciously attacked by a group of black teens. You absolutely never see videos like this one with the races reversed. Never. Doesn't exist. First of all, you're a fucking delusional clown if you think that there's no videos of like white people beating the living shit out of black people or killing them. Okay? It's called police brutality. It's called stand your ground laws. It's called white supremacy as an institution, institutionalized white supremacy. It's called the criminal justice system. We see it every day. It happens every day. You just defend that because you think that's good when it happens to black people, when they're the victims. Okay? At this point, we need to discuss why this violence literally always goes one way. 14K likes. I don't know what the details behind this video are. I don't know if this is TOS. Can we watch this? Here, I'll take a look. So, do we have any details on what happened? They just it's not TOS. There's just a bunch of teens just like brutally beating the shit out of this like white woman. What is this? Like, what the fuck am I looking at here? Unruly crowds unacceptable, but don't demonize youth. Brandon Johnson, Chicago mayor-elect. Oh, it started already. Chicago officials are reacting after unruly crowds gathered downtown near Millennium Park this weekend. Oh, I saw videos of this. Viral videos show large groups of people disrupting traffic, dancing on cars, getting involved in fights. Police said 2 people were shot late Saturday night. Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson's statement is grabbing national headlines. I feel like I know why it's a big deal. Every year, hundreds of kids go downtown and go crazy for a day. Wait, that's like a thing that happens in Chicago? I don't really understand. Fuck, hold on. One day the whole city goes wild. I don't know what this is about. Yes, most just take the train from the south side down to the loop. Okay, that's fucking weird, and I don't really understand that, but okay. Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson's statement is grabbing national headlines, saying it part, and we should not demonize the youth who were a part of it. That's probably not what they are saying. When I came back, this whole area was lined with, the street was blocked out by a wall of police. The groups were seen running around, jumping on cars, CTA buses, weaving in and out of oncoming traffic. 2 teenagers were shot near Michigan and Wabash Avenues. A 16-year-old boy was shot in the arm. A 17-year-old boy was shot in the leg. We've had it almost every year. I just think the police feel that they don't have support from the mayor and stuff to really do what they need to do. Mayor Lori Lightfoot responded to the violence. We've taken steps and we'll take the steps to address these teen trends. It's not the first time we've addressed these issues, but our young people have an opportunity and a right to enjoy the entirety of our city, but they have to do it in a way that is respectful of people and property, and we did address that over the weekend. Dude, I don't fucking understand. I don't. Like, for the record, I hope everyone personally recognizes that teenagers going around and doing like a purge-style night is profoundly unacceptable. Okay? Obviously. I'm not going to fucking sit here and be like, no, let them have their fucking fun. No, of course not. Especially when the fun that you're talking about involves like assaulting people. Okay? But there is a way to fucking avoid that reality. Okay? How do you do that? By offering those teenagers opportunities. Literally, after school programs are profoundly impactful in lowering this kind of fucking crime. Okay? Lowering this kind of activity. Like, that's it. That's it. Make a fucking community center. Put a basketball league and other sports leagues and other fucking unique interests that teenagers may have. Put a fucking land center. That's it. It makes me so mad. Yo, you say they have that? No, they don't. Those things are so devastatingly fucking underfunded. And they basically don't even exist. The idea that they have like adequate after school programs and adequate opportunities is stupid. Okay? They don't. Literally go and this isn't like, go to any, like, go watch a fucking documentary on the south side of Chicago if you want to get a better understanding. Half the time, the stuff that they show you that they have, the community centers they have, are all basically propagandized to look way more adequate than they actually are. Okay? They don't have shit. Oh. Can we ever be surprised at violence when they are constantly targeted every single day by violence from the state? Man, that's crazy. Like, no, that's also not like, there is no justifiable tone I'm taking with these actions. Okay? It's just fucking ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Everybody also recognizes that it's fucking crazy. Like, what the fuck?
Crowds of young people downtown. Chicago police making a total of 15 arrests after some of them got out of hand. Now, of course, there were also 3 people that were shot in the various incidents that happened over the weekend. Mayor Lori Lightfoot finally speaking about the incidents this morning. Mayhem on Michigan Avenue and other places downtown Saturday night, resulting in fights, damaged vehicles, and terrified tourists as groups of young people took over the streets. 2 teenage boys were shot.
We have taken steps and will take steps to address these teen trends. It's not the first time that we've addressed these issues, but our young people have an opportunity and a right to enjoy the entirety of our city, but they have to do it in a way that is respectful for people and property.
On Friday night, a group of teens caused major disruptions at the 31st Street Beach. A 14-year-old was shot in the leg. The incident raising concerns for Alderwoman Sophia King, whose ward covers that area.
It was very serious, so we have to hold youth accountable and responsible. But we also need to bring the city together because we do need to have activities for the youth.
Alderman Brendan Riley, whose ward includes the Loop, calling it lawlessness on the part of teens looking to score points on social media. He also questioned the police.
Yeah. I love when they like openly recognize that, like, we got to give them something to do, which is true. Okay. But then she's like, we got to hold them accountable. Yeah, what do you think? Fucking teenagers think that they're not held accountable? This kind of conversation is so, this kind of this kind of take is so idiotic. No one is fucking pro-crime, okay? Like, I joke and say I am pro-crime all the fucking time. But of course, overall, this kind of shit is awful. It shouldn't justify the vicious cycle of like further police funding, which, by the way, those dipshits in positions of power are going to use this. And also all of the wealthier residents of Chicago are going to say we need more money for the police to make sure that this never happens. By doing what? I guess killing some teenagers. I suspect that's what they think will do a good job of like stopping this. Stopping this crime wave in Chicago. I'm so confused. We can all organize to just fuck shit up for fun, but we can't organize to demand actual systemic change. Fuck this earth. Yeah, because one's boring.
Response saying in a statement, this feels a bit like Groundhog Day. Every year on our first warm weather weekend, it seems that CPD leadership is caught flat-footed and overwhelmed by these large groups of teens on our beaches and in our parks. Riley and others calling for accountability for the teens and their parents.
We need to call it out for what it is. You can't sugarcoat this, and you can't make excuses for that behavior. You need to hold them and their parents accountable for this and use everything that's in our toolbox to identify who they are and take the appropriate action so that we don't have this going on all summer long.
In a statement, Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson said, in no way do I condone the destructive activity that we saw in the Loop and Lakefront this weekend. It is unacceptable. And
they're like, we need to go find these teenagers and kill them. And their fucking parents. We need to jail teenagers until the summer's over. That'll show them. That'll definitely, eradicate the problem. People will be like, yeah, what's really the fault is fatherlessness in the black community. What's my solution? Arresting the fathers. Sean the Black says, bored kids do stupid things all the time. It's not unique to Chicago. It's not a problem until that will be fixed by the police. Absolutely. Absolutely. This happens every fucking year, apparently. Do something about it. And by that, I don't mean build a fucking more violent state apparatus to like kill teenagers. In order to counter this, design social programs specifically around summer. Like, that's it. Especially when like school's getting let out early, or if school is out in general during spring break. A lot of this shit happens when they don't have anything else going on. Chicago is simultaneously one of my favorite cities and also full of the most annoying kind of lib. The oop, let me scooch by you, hun type lib. They come off not as evil as they are. Oh yeah, 100%. You fucking slap a Patagonia vest on and you say the most unhinged violent screeds about like what to do with black teenagers and their fucking parents. But you say it in a way where people don't immediately understand how bloodthirsty you are. Oh, well, it's fatherlessness. We got to work on it. Yeah, right? You're right. Oh, we got to work on that, don't you know? I don't know why the Chicago guys are talking like this, but like we got to build a wall around the beaches, don't you know?
has no place in our city. However, it is not constructive to demonize youth who've been otherwise starved of opportunities in their own communities. City leaders obviously now looking to look at what happened this weekend and try to make a plan to make sure that doesn't happen for the next warm weekend.
Way to go. Yeah, the homeowner said 10 out of 10.
I didn't even say anything bad. But of course, they're already going crazy with it. Anyway. I'm born and raised in Chicago, went through CPS as a kid, even 15 years ago in the elementary school I went to. We ate in the hallway for 8 years since we didn't have a cafeteria. The roof was literally rotting in some classrooms. And most after-school programs would get canceled left and right. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's not like he's saying that it's good that the kids are doing this. Like, he openly recognizes this unacceptable. And we got to find a different solution than, like, trying to fucking police it. Because obviously policing it is not going to work. As an institution, it is not designed to deal with, like, this kind of activity. Okay? I don't know. It shit pisses me off. And then you got dipshits like Matt